What up, y'all? Sixth Element of Hip Hop. I'm your host, Reno Noir. This is my co-host, Stu Dog. We got Spade and Raw Talk in the building.
Yo,
Man, the whole fam is here. What's good, y'all?
What up?
Sir.
Man,
Man,
I'm trying is malfunctioning right now. What's going on?
there we go.
There
There we go.
There we go.
Spade is ready for our convo today. We Supermaned out. Corey.
Yeah.
What's up, Corey?
Corey, add salute.
Salute
Yeah,
to
man.
everybody.
Great show today, though, because we got a lot of good stuff to go over. We got the Sonic 3 movie that just dropped. We saw that last night. Phenomenal. Gonna bust that up. Sonic 4 already confirmed. They're gonna do that, so that's dope. We got the old He-Man, the Master of the Universe movie that cast Jared Leto as Skeletor. We're gonna chop that up. Superhero movies basically just getting a reboot altogether for 2025. It's a beautiful thing. Superman movie, Fantastic Four. We'll see how that's gonna, pan out. Crypto the Super Mutt in the Superman movie makes me wonder if we're gonna get Ace the Bat Hound in the DCU Batman movie. We're gonna talk about Ace in a minute too, because I got a cool figure to go with it. And Guy Gardner, I want to learn more about him. We're gonna talk about him. Lex Luthor's power suit.
Don't forget.
That's coming.
Don't forget the Guy Gardner figure that's coming out.
Yes, sir. That's a beautiful
haircut.
Yes, sir. You know you got to
sir.
keep. You got the bull and the buzz. You can switch haircut.
And the buzz.
No
You can switch haircuts. Yeah.
No disrespect to Guy Gardner, but he looked like a real Irish dude, straight off. Straight off. I was like, yo. Yeah,
Word is
he
bond.
looked like he had a couple of nights before he
Ring, but I was tripping out on that one.
Yeah.
You already know. Shit. Creature Commandos, we had the Weasel story, man. That was the saddest thing I've ever seen. Saddest thing Gunn's ever written, he said. And we'll bust that up. Where's Darkseid? Where's he gonna turn up next in DC Comics? I got that for you. Batman 2. We're gonna talk about the Penguin, all of that good stuff. Skeleton Crew. If we get to it, we get time. We got the Absolute Universe's Flash. That's looking dope. And if we have time, we're going to get into the Marvel stuff. I want to talk a lot about Fantastic Four. We got some photos of the crew. We got some photos of the cast and all that good stuff. And Andre 3000 ate his words. So we're going to talk about that. But that's my homie. I love Andre, man. That's the homie. But he had to backpedal. And I'm glad.
Yep.
But Rotten Tomatoes, man, Hedgehog, Sonic 3, Jim Carrey, Idris Elba, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, James Marsden, Tika Sumpter. Ahead of its widespread theatrical release, Sonic 3 has earned a promising early Rotten Tomatoes score before it even started. It was had a 86, before it even came out. But the movie has come out, and it's people love it so far. I think it's great. I think it's the best one of all three, hands down, without even trying. Like, absolutely the best of the three. Shadow, dope character. Sonic 4, already confirmed. But I don't know. Have you guys seen this movie? Because I might be the only one here that's seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it probably next weekend with my sons.
Right.
Unless they see it first with their mother. It depends. But yeah, I definitely want to see it because I seen the last two in the theater. I got to keep it going. You know what I mean? I got to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't
seen two. I watched it on streaming one time. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Here's a little sneaky poo. A sneaky. Nobody knows.
Remember the end credits of two when you showed Shadow, I was like, yo. Me and my boys was going crazy when they showed Shadow. I was like, yo. And now he is.
So he comes out. He's just like, this is the opening scene. Uh, just a little. I had to get it.
Ooh,
This is like straight out of the game where he is teleporting around. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's Shadow's deal. He's not as fast as Sonic. Nobody is, but he teleports.
Yes.
He's damn near fast as Sonic, but he teleports, so he got it all over Sonic. And rides a motorcycle, shoots a pistol, all that good stuff. Didn't cuss in this movie. I thought he was gonna say "damn" like he did in the game, but we didn't get him saying it. Someone said "damn." I forget who it was. There wasn't.
Probably Marsden.
Yeah, probably. But
Shadow got a cuss, man. It ain't Shadow. He ain't cuss.
it could have
Right.
been Jim.
Yeah.
I know. It's just you never know. But
We need an R-rated Sonic so Shadow can go off.
exactly. Well, they did their thing. I will tell you, this movie was much less of a kids movie than the first two. I mean, of course, it's still a kids movie. Of course, it's geared toward the kids, but this one really hit the mark as far as like the action, the CGI, the great sequences. It was a lot less about Marsden and his girl and the whole human side of the universe. They really, this is like Robotnik, Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Shadow, Gun. You know what I mean? Just people from and you know Marsden. They were in it a couple times, but really, honestly, man, they really stuck to the characters in this one, and that's one of the things I think really helped it. Be better. But I mean, this franchise is kicked off. It's going to be more than just a trilogy. They're going all in with maybe 4, maybe 5. I mean, the next movie we dropped again, guys. You know, this is a spoiler channel. We do not hold back. But at the last open credit scene after Sonic 3, they show Amy with her hammer. We get Metal Sonic, not to be confused with Mecha Sonic. So we get to see they're going to be in the fourth movie. So that's really cool. This is Metal Sonic. If you're unsure who we mean, that's who we mean. They show.
Okay.
It's funny that when what you call it escaped out of that prison, it's similar to the prisons everywhere in every superhero movie. Like they're on the ocean, like the raft.
Yeah.
That nature, like leads me believe we really got a super prison like that in the ocean somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. They really did. Really did hit the mark with this one, man. So Amy is a good character from Shadow. She didn't make it into this movie, but like I said, she's in the after credit scene, wearing a hood, coming out with a cloak on, slinging the hammer, and battling Metal Sonic. So Metal Sonic shows up, and it's just him at first, and then Sonic turns around, and there's like 50 Metal Sonics surrounding him, and that's how it ends. So definitely setting up a fourth movie, and if it's anything like as good, which I know it's going to be as good as this one, maybe better, they're gonna keep pushing, because I think they learned about the success of this one with the live action, with the CGI, giving the cast of Robotnik and Knuckles and Tails and Sonic and Shadow, and that being who the movie's about. Let's see them at least 90% of the time. But yeah, Paramount has confirmed the development of the upcoming sequel, Sonic 4. They slated the movie for a spring 2027 release, and this news is coming the day before the official before the official release of Sonic 3. So they already announced it off top, but at the time there was no further details known or anything like that about the cast, crew, storyline, except of course we see at the end about Metal and Amy. So you can guess what's going to happen, or at least kind of put it together, because they're pretty accurate. Like they really adapted the game. There's a lot of scenes directly from the game and stuff like that. My son Blaze was with me, and he was like, yo, he was getting hyped. Like every time they showed a scene from the game and it was like, beat for beat, he got excited. And again, man, that just proves like people want to see their favorite shit adapted. They want to see it. They want to recognize it. They want to go, oh, I remember that from the comic, or I remember that from the video game. They want to see that. People get excited when they see that. But yeah, because Sonic 4 has been confirmed so quickly on the heels of the of this movie, it seems highly likely that a lot of the members of the Sonic 3 cast are going to, return in the movie. So, expect Jim Carrey to come back. Sadly, Shadow dies as he does in the game. I mean, he dies in the game he died. It's just how it goes. I don't see any reason why they can't bring him back. This is how these things go. But yeah, while the live action, stars might choose to step back after a certain point, voice performance requires a lot less of a time commitment, so it's a lot higher probability that you can get the same actors to come back and keep doing like a fourth and a fifth movie and stuff like that. So it's set up for a good future. I'm excited about it.
Do any of y'all remember the Sonic cartoon when we were young?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that Urkel voiced. I love that cartoon.
Yeah, bro. Oh yeah, Urkel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. What's his name?
Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. He played the voice of Sonic in it was like the 90s, 93, 94.
Yeah.
It's an animated series.
Which was popular too. Oh,
yeah, it was dope for that little. I think it was like a season, like maybe two. It was like two seasons.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 seasons. Season 1 directed by Dick Seibest. Season 2 directed by Ron Myrick. Voices of Jaleel White, Charlie Adler, Mark Ballou, Cam Bernard. But yeah, that was a dope show. That was cool. I mean, Sonic material is pretty scarce. You don't get, and then it's like always different. So it's cool that they've got a universe going. But as far as the movie, man, I'll bust it down for you. Like definitely the clear, like I like the way they adapted it, the way that they actually, did parts of the game in the movie. And there's a few lapses, I think its greatest strength though is that it prioritizes the non-human characters rather than sidelining them in service of the much less interesting, much cheaper to produce human characters. And that's generally why that happens in these kind of movies, and especially in the first one when they didn't have quite the budget. Got to have a lot less CGI, a lot more humans, and so that's why it's more of a human heavy story. But now that they've got the budget, they didn't do that bullshit, and they I think it was a very wise move after the colossal letdown of the Knuckles series human centric story. I was relieved to see that Sonic 3 not only focus on the anthropomorphic aliens, but also give them their best material yet. It's definitely, Keanu Reeves as Shadow, fucking the heart of the film for sure. But his backstory is different from the games a little bit in the movie, but the same through lines, grief, vengeance. He's still brooding. He's still the little girl that befriended him in his in the facility, in the game. She gets shot by one of the gun soldiers in the game, and that's what sets Shadow off on his vengeance. But in this one, she doesn't actually get shot by the guy. They actually have an explosion happen that the gun soldier shoots at them, but it like ricochets off a tank and blows something up and causes an explosion, which then kills the girl. I guess they didn't want to directly shoot a child in the kids movie, probably. Yeah. I mean, with school shootings and everything like that, like they're not gonna shoot a kid. So that was a good choice, but other than that, like pretty close to the source material. But yeah, little specifics, little slightly different. But Sonic 3 draws heavily from the dueling character perspective of the game that it draws most from, like Sonic Adventure 2. And the movie takes most of the game's key components, like delineating the movie into 2 tones depending on which Speedy Hedgehog is at the center of the scene. But the moments when Shadow is the focus are as contemplative and evocative as the ones in the Dreamcast video game. Like if you didn't play the Dreamcast game, I pity you, because it was phenomenal. Like Dreamcast was a dope ass system. It's a short-lived, highly underrated system. Had some of the best games, best graphics of its era for sure. Um, but had a lot of games that you just wouldn't get anywhere else. Great Star Wars games and shit like that. But I fucked with it. But yeah,
Well,
Came
Dreamcast.
out with they were the ones to bring out the 2K series.
and they
Like
started the
it's
online
Sega.
game.
Yeah, they were the first ones to do online game. But you know what? Sega has always had the best gaming ideas. The only
Mhm.
their biggest downfall is they do what most American companies they didn't support their product, and that's what killed the Saturn. I mean not the
Mm,
Saturn, the
the
Dreamcast,
Dreamcast.
because they wanted like they felt like Xbox feels now. We'll bring out a system. It's dope. It's powerful, and everybody in the world is gonna want to program for it and put out games for it. But you gotta have. But Sony proved that you have to have in-house titles, and they gotta be strong. That's why Sony always was more. They just came out on top with that until the American companies get it together.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
what we always gonna
Wepa.
Wepa, wepa.
have.
I mean,
Tripping on
we ain't got
mushrooms,
we
what?
got we ain't got no rule against tripping on mushrooms on the show. If you want
We
to
ain't got
hop
no,
on,
yeah, we ain't got no. You might see some stuff that you might not
I
think
don't
is
know how I
there
type
that might be
Just
there,
don't,
but you know,
just don't run around your house like Sonic and shit.
it. Dope handheld.
they
Yeah,
don't pay. It's stupid. It's kind of true. It's kind of true, but I mean, they want third party developers to support those handhelds, and
yeah,
they want guys like us to make games for it, which we do, but you still got to have in-house titles. It makes no difference what you bring out. You have to have strong in-house titles in order for your console to succeed, whether it's handheld or not.
yeah,
Your third-party games will help keep it there, but your in-house games are what makes people buy your system.
You know
yeah,
that that's what's kind of ironic, Stu, because I'm like, being a former wrestler, we know when WCW was bought out by the WWF, it's like that's how it was with Sega and Nintendo. Nintendo was like, we support our stuff, so all right, wait, we got the capital, we got the money, just buy y'all out. That
There
was
yeah,
you
the
go.
Sony
Yeah,
versus Mario.
yeah. No,
yeah,
it's true. Nintendo's the only Nintendo is where they all got it from because Nintendo
Yep,
always has strong in-house games. You got all the
yep,
Mario games, you got Metroid, you got
yep.
Mother, you got
Legend of Zelda.
all of those RPGs. They supported all those RPGs when nobody wanted them. What's that one game we were just talking about it? Randy, you said you bought all the characters for it. You bought all the little like the amiibos when they count the amiibos. But there was a
Oh,
game out
Skylanders.
before when Skylanders came out.
Oh, Disney
No,
Infinity.
yeah, no, Skylanders is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay,
When Skylanders came out, and this is sad. Skylanders came out, nobody wanted to support it. They was like, "Oh, that ain't gonna work. That's ain't nobody gonna buy that."
right.
Nintendo was like, "Skip it, put it on our system." It blew up. Everybody was buying Wii's just to play Skylanders.
They
They
named
was
it
like, "Hell, I need to play." And then when
Infinity.
and then Nintendo got smart and was like, "Wait a minute, this we on to something here." They came out with amiibos. Then you had Disney Infinity, and you had Skylanders. But Skylanders, every video game company thought it was going to be a flop. Nintendo supported it, and it blew up. And then it went on. Then
Yeah,
it got on Xbox. Then it got on PlayStation. But by then, the Steam had fizzled out because Disney Infinity came out. People were big on that. Because that's the time we love Disney. Disney bring out something, we be like, "Oh, we supporting it." But now Disney brings something out, we like, I don't
mhm,
know.
Disney
yeah.
is the enemy.
Yeah, I got to think about that.
Disney is the enemy. Yeah,
Disney is
but
Yeah,
yeah,
remember that?
you
Remember
know,
Disney movies? They would bring out.
if you,
We'd be like, "That's a Disney movie." Yo, we'd be like, "I want to
yeah,
go see that."
some of them shits. Yeah, it was. But yeah, but
All of them,
fans of the game, will definitely know the truth of Shadow's backstory from the get go. But I won't get into too much detail for those that might not have. Doesn't anyone who doesn't know their rings from their Chaos Emeralds. But suffice to say, Shadow's suffering from a broken heart, a far cry from his fellow hedgehogs. But in a lot of ways, yeah, he's Sonic's mirror. He's all black. He's more dark. He's more brooding. He's more, has a more negative outlook. He's out for revenge. He's not a good guy. He's definitely not trying to save anyone. And that only makes their conflict more compelling. Definitely, particularly later on when there's a really dope plot point that arises that I won't kill you with. But yeah, Keanu Reeves kills it. And Shadow is definitely the standout, of course, of the movie. It's about Shadow. It definitely But they didn't. I was a little worried that we weren't gonna see, a lot of Shadow, or he was gonna come in at the end or some bullshit. Like I showed you, he's there from the very first scene all the way through it. They did not fuck around, but I wanted to get a good picture of Jim Carrey for you guys because finally looks like Robotnik. Just like I kind of thought he was gonna do in that first one, but he's wearing the costume right from the fucking game. He's got the mustache. Dreamcast was the shit. I have 10 Japanese edition. Oh, the Japanese edition with the first version of Marvel vs. Capcom, Spawn, and more. That Marvel vs. Capcom was everything, bro. We used to burn that
I used to play
Dreamcast
that
up.
hard. Yeah, I used to play that hard. I just bought the. Did you guys get the re-release for that? They just Capcom just
Mhm.
released it. Re-released
Yep.
it. I've been tearing
Yep.
it up.
Hell yeah. Having a blast with that shit. But yeah, there's Jim. Like I said, he killed it, man. And there's the clan. There's his grandfather. So he plays two roles in the movie. He plays Robotnik and Robotnik's grandfather, who's a
Nice.
bastard. Ooh, if you thought Robotnik was foul, this motherfucker is real grimy. So great roles there. There's Shadow. But yeah, if you if you really like the first movie and the second movie, you're gonna fucking love this movie. If you kind of didn't like the first movie and you thought the second movie, you're gonna love this movie. For me, the first movie, I was like, I kind of dig how they made him and stuff, but I felt it was too much on the human side. But of course, I know that they didn't have the acceptance yet. They didn't know how it was going to go over, so they probably didn't want to spend $200 million on it off top. So that's how that went. So that was cool. The second one, definitely a lot more of the the characters, the Sonic and the Knuckles and everything like that. So I dug that more. But this one just lays it all on. So if you even if you halfway like the first two, you'll love this one. And it's out right now. You can go see it.
Yeah.
Saw it last night via Blade. Well, actually, we saw it yesterday in the afternoon. Masters of the Universe movie. Jared Leto confirmed. That's your boy right there, Stu. Your Joker as Skeletor.
Joker.
Yes, sir. And Amazon MGM's Masters of the Universe. Sam C. Wilson, Hafthor Bjornsson, Kojo Ata, also aboard as villains. What's his boy? Triclops,
Sonic cameo.
Trapjaw. Huh?
I said we had a Sonic cameo in the house.
Why you say that? Oh shit. Oh shit.
Sonic is here.
Oh shit. Yeah, I got one of those too. What my son do?
Oh,
It better be a Skeletor than a motherfucker.
I would know that's right.
Oh, he said I'd be a better
remember
Skeletor than that motherfucker. Okay. Well, I thought he said Jared Leto. That shit better be a Skeletor than a motherfucker. It better be Skeletor than a motherfucker. But I think Jared Leto can do a fucking dope Skeletor. That seems like a good casting to me.
Jared Leto as Skeletor. I mean,
Yeah.
you peep his voice when he did the Joker from
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. So you think, yeah, he has that tone.
Right.
And the face, skeletal structure to his face, he's thin.
Yeah, that's what
he's gonna look raw.
Mm.
And and Skeletor is a little bit, even though he's maniacal, he's a little bit strange. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that dude fits the bill.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was linked to the project back in September, but they've got new castings that they're confirming now. Sam Wilson from House of the Dragon as Trapjaw. We've got Hafthor Bjornsson from The Northman as Goatman. Kojo Ata in the Gray as Triclops, which is one of my favorite characters. I love Triclops. I fucking love Triclops. He's dope looking dude. Let me see. Jared Leto is 52. That's good because Skeletor is an old motherfucker. How you gonna be too old for a skeleton, my guy?
When what you call
He's a skeleton.
yeah. And
How
when
can you be
Raul
too
Julia,
old to be a
who was
skeleton?
it? Julia played Skeletor the last.
No,
But
it's Frank
no,
Langella.
he's talking more about the body. I mean, all the He-Man
Frank
fit
Langella.
characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
Frank Manchester.
original
Who
Masters
played
of
him
the
in the
Universe,
first movie?
Frank
Frank
Langella.
Langella.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was phenomenal.
so he was around
Obviously,
that
he's
same
cool.
age, right? Frank Langella
Yeah,
was
he
be around
he
that.
was old. Yeah, he
I
was
would
old when
think
he played.
so, because I mean, he was older when he was playing in Superman Returns with Perry White. So you got to think that was like
Yeah.
I was a kid when the Master of the Universe movie came out. Like
Right
we
in
all
the
were.
80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was a kid too.
hell yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. Masters of the Universe
And he
80s
also played
joint,
Dracula.
80s movie, huh?
I said Frank Langella also played Dracula back in those days too.
For real?
Okay.
He played with he had that little mini afro Dracula, like you know what I'm saying, curly hair.
Yeah.
Remember the movie ended and he turned to dust, and then his cape flew out into the ocean or whatever.
1979 Dracula, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, but he was an old dude in 1979. He played
I was gonna
Dracula.
say that was the year we were born, Reno.
You feel me? Right. So by the time he played, I mean, he was young in that movie. He was kind of young in that movie, but he was a grown man. I mean,
Yeah,
Dracula.
Frozen Angela.
Grown
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Sure.
but he came around later in the 80s. He did the whatever. But here and there, I mean, I think and I think what figure drawing's point is more along the lines of his body, his build. And obviously all the He-Man toys were all looking like fucking Arnold. Every
Right.
single character had the same huge body, but
Yep.
they didn't really do that in the live action, and they probably can't do that in the live action. Imagine casting all bodybuilders. I mean, I don't think there's that many bodybuilders that can act that good, like not to fill a whole fucking cast. Just saying. But I mean, body suits, CGI, they can make him look however the fuck they want. I mean, what's his name? That plays the Hulk. Obviously, he's you see his face, but he's
Mark
the Hulk.
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah. I always get him mixed up with Vincent D'Onofrio for some reason. I guess the name BDBGP. Salute. How you live?
Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Masters of the Universe, that's a franchise that I've been wanting to see a live action movie from. The first live action movie was not that bad. It just it disappointed a lot of us kids because we wanted to see what we recognized from the cartoon. And when we
Right.
watched the movie, that wasn't what I recognized. That's not
Right.
Orko. That's not that. Where's Orko? Like, what the fuck is it? You know what I'm saying? So it really is important to adapt shit directly because fans of the original shit are gonna want to see something they recognize in the live action movie. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, because I think back then they always wanted to relate Earth as the primary subject because it was easy.
Easy and cheap.
Yeah, cheap. Because
Yeah.
now you can use regular streets instead of creating Eternia. And back then it was
Right.
more
Right.
practical than special effects. So, you know what I
Right.
mean? But now we got the CGI and you can create
Yeah.
worlds. So now
Right.
it's crazy.
Right.
I think they should go the way of Lord of the Rings, that type of visual context
Yeah.
for Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
You know.
Hell yeah, bro. That like the Hobbit, you mean? Like those new movies?
Yeah.
That was fuck yeah.
Go, make it a real adventure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But along the way, you got to fight Skeletor and stuff.
Please make it fucking take place 100% in Eternia. There's no Earth.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And
Don't
I
come
don't.
to LA.
Do that. The only mention of Earth need to be Queen Marlena.
Yeah,
Saying
that's
something
the only
about
one.
Her coming from Earth. That needs to be it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And only mentioned. Please don't
Yeah,
go.
only mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
the same
have
thing
it
with the
be,
Green. It's the same
have it
thing with
be
the
a
Green
side-
Lantern movies. You shot it on Earth. You should have just shot it on OR. Like when you see
Mhm.
Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, that whole movie
right.
was just CGI. The whole movie was green
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't. So you can't tell me you can't do it. The director
Yeah.
just didn't want to go in that direction. He didn't want to do it. And
Right.
Yeah.
sometimes you got to take it off world, man. Like Reno said, we want to see
Yeah.
something familiar. We want to see Eternia. We want to see the creatures of Eternia. We want to see He-Man pop out of nowhere and fight some, fight
Grace.
some strange creature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gray Skull and shit like that. Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah, Snake Mountain, all of that. Like,
Yeah.
and the fantasy, because He-Man was hella sci-fi too. A lot of people think of it as
It was.
medieval or whatever, but it was mad
No, it was
sci-fi. So
sci-fi. Yeah.
Science
yeah,
versus
it's
That's it.
fantasy, right? Science versus magic, fantasy. It's all of that. So it's perfect fodder for Hollywood. They just never want to make the movie in Eternia, in my opinion. That's why it don't work out. But Goat Man is a minor villain that I'm not really familiar with. But Triclops, obviously, I know who that is. He's a more tech savvy, like a tech guy, so he'll be more of a tech, whereas, and Trapjaw, obviously, he's very well known for the cybernetic. He's like a cyborg, so he's super sci-fi. And then obviously Skeletor being a powerful sorcerer.
got beast.
Also, Allison Brie is on board to play another villain role, Evil Lynn. So Allison Brie is going to be Evil Lynn, who's obviously a very famous character in the franchise, a sorceress. Also set to star is Idris Elba to play Duncan, Man at Arms.
Y'all talk Hogan's head. Wait a minute.
I got a problem with that. I really got a real problem with that.
Come on with it, bro.
Might as well been The Rock. I mean,
It don't make sense to me.
Mm.
I mean, he could play other characters like maybe Stratos or maybe Zodak, because you had Zodak was black in many iterations, as well
Right.
as things what you call it would be, but it's like, I don't know. You just can't. I mean, I understand you want to bring black folk into the realm of Masters of the Universe, but I think that's, to me, this is insulting to the true fans of it,
yeah.
who want to see what they grew up as a kid.
Recognize, right?
Yeah, like,
You wanna recognize.
I mean, unless you want to do the current iteration of He-Man, where the female, what's her name? I forget her name. She's the new Man at Arms. I mean, that's
Man, I wanted some OG
Taylor?
shit, man.
you know what I'm saying. But see, there you go. You could make him Clamp Champ.
I want some
Bow!
OG, bro. Yeah, Clamp right here.
Yeah, you were saying that, Spade. Like that. Come on, man. It don't make sense to me, man. I don't like that. I think they just
Clamp
trying
Champ.
Oh, it could have
Yeah.
been Buzz. He right there.
Buzzo. Shit, Buzz Off. I mean, yeah, Buzz
Buzz
Off.
Off. And I always see Buzz Off as Dominican or Puerto Rican, honestly.
Hell yeah. Yo,
Basically.
where Pac?
what I'm
Having
saying?
a Comic Crusaders logo on his chest.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just
Buzz
based on,
Off.
I'm basing it off the tonage of the skin color. You know what I'm saying? You know, you
Yeah,
look
I'm
at
looking- I know.
Fisto, he look like he's an Irishman or a Nordic guy or what have
Fisto
you,
gotta be, yeah, he definitely
understand?
a Scottish guy.
Stuff like that, you know.
Fucking- Look at this stumpy motherfucker.
Ram,
No
man.
neck ass.
saying?
Ram Man. Fucking
Stratos, you
Ram
could have put him in
Man.
Stratos.
Strato.
yeah,
Manny
Stratos.
Faces.
Stratos.
Yeah, Manny
I had
Faces,
damn near all the
Stratos.
action figures when I was
Manny
a
That's
kid.
Faces.
Mecha Neck. You got Mecha Neck right there.
Mecha
I
Neck,
had
man.
most of these figures, man. I had most of these figures, man. And it's
Yeah.
like, come on,
Bruh. I need
make a Moss Man. Shit.
I want Beast Man. That's
Yeah,
my
he
guy.
could be Boss Man.
These are my guy. I like the bad guys. I like Beast Man, Triclops. I even fuck with Stinkor. I fuck with all these the bad
heck
guys,
yeah,
man.
all of them.
Fucking
Clawful was my dude, man.
Clawful, bro. The ninja dude, the samurai dude. Get the fuck out of here. Come
My
on.
boy Motu.
Even the girl, even the
and all this.
girl, Hordak from the girl one. He's a cool looking character
She-Ra.
too.
Yeah, from She-Ra. Yeah.
He's the one who created
Too
Skeletor.
bad. Look at Too Bad over here. Yo, Too Bad. You could have two actors being Too Bad. That'll be some CGI funny ass shit.
It would be funny as hell,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Oh yeah. They may
Jitsu,
do
that's
that.
his
They
name.
may do that. You know what I'm saying? Along the way, they may
Jitsu.
do that, but it needs to be a saga one. It needs to be at least 4 or 5 movies. Let's get
Hold
crazy.
on, we need Merman. Where's
Merman.
Merman? I need Merman. He's one of my
Idris
favorite
Elba
characters.
as Man at Arms, man.
I
I'm
forgot
thinking
about
they're
Merman.
dropping the ball. I mean, they messed up when they
It's
made
funny.
Heimdall in the Thor movie. I'm like, you could have put him somewhere
Yeah.
else. You could have made him one of the black superheroes that we needed in the Marvel universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. There's black characters in He-Man, but they're not as much. Maybe one or
Well,
two.
yeah, but that's the thing. There are black characters, so
Yeah.
let's just use those. Like instead of
Yeah.
making up swapping races of characters, let me just
I,
cast the characters.
I don't like
And
this,
then
man. I hate that.
nah, I hate it. The reason I hate it ain't got nothing to do with being racist. Obviously nobody's racist. It's about the characters you recognize. You want to see them, how you recognize them. Fuck.
You know? I
But
mean,
you know,
Marvel has a lot of
what
black
is it too?
characters they could use, man.
Plenty.
Plenty, and
What
they
is
just
it too? Always say
And
Hollywood
DC,
ain't just
forget about it.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, spade. And then Milestone, fucking they need to do a whole universe.
Man, we need some milestone characters.
Oh, figure drawing. Why I hate it?
I
Because
wish. I
you
wish.
want what's intended in the beginning. You want it how it was in the original iteration of the characters. Like I got the comic books, I got the DVDs of the cartoon, had the toys. I want to see it in its original form as far as that's concerned.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like I'm envisioning Duncan as a wild dude who looked like Tom Selleck. You know what I'm saying? With the mustache, the porn stash. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm looking like
Right.
that. Or
Right.
without the porn stash. You know what I'm saying? Either iteration, the comic one or the cartoon one. Or the
You know, and if they don't look that different, it's not that big. I mean, Argentinians and white people, it's not, you can, okay, like that's not going to be too crazy. You're not going to be like, I just don't even recognize that character. But when you take like a Chinese character, a Chinese man, and make him a white woman in the movie, I don't know who that was in the Hulk movie. The what's her name? What's her name, Stu?
what Hulk movie? What
The
Chinese?
wizard, the or Doctor Strange movie. I mean,
Oh,
Oh,
no, the bald headed chick. Oh, the one.
yeah, you know what I'm fucking talking
Sorcerer
about.
Supreme.
Anyway,
Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. So right, I didn't know who that was. Like it's a Chinese man. You make it a white woman. I don't know who that is. It's too big of a difference. If you make a small, thank you, Jazzy Jeff. If you make a small difference, it's not. It's still not gonna be like, I don't recognize that. Who the fuck is that?
You know,
I
People were
just want
upset
to
about that.
recognize it. At least
People were upset
understand
about
who it
that.
is.
They would like people were really upset about that. They gender swapped the Sorcerer Supreme. Like
yeah.
people was really mad about that.
Gender
Like, they
and
really,
race.
like
Yeah, they
yeah,
gender and race swapped.
yeah, they really was hot about that. That's the one
You'll
thing.
never
That's
know
the
who it
one
was.
complaint. That's the one complaint I heard the most about the first Doctor Strange movie was what they did to the
Yeah.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I understand you like to see brothers and sisters here and there figure drawing, but in the right context, man. I mean, like really
Yeah.
put the where they
Right.
fit
It's not always bad.
on the characters we have because there's a lot of characters that we don't know about that are black characters that need to be seen.
Mhm.
Why
That's the point.
overshadow them? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like
That's the point.
Marvel does it all the time. It's like, yo, you got a plethora of black characters. Use them. These are dope superheroes. But
Right.
you don't.
They don't use them.
It's like it's frustrating,
Yeah.
to a,
It's like
to a
they like
hardcore fan.
writers and stuff now would rather gender or race swap to fit, like as we all have known and said, fit an agenda than to come up with an original character for an original story. It's like it's
Yeah.
not that hard, rather than race swapping, like you just said, race and gender swapping one character for what reason? Because nobody knows the source of Supreme. Like I might personally not have read Doctor Strange comic books, but I know
Right.
plenty of people who do, and they was like, "Man, that ain't in the book."
Exactly.
Right.
And he said, what? I understand where you're coming from, bro. And I
I
know,
feel you.
but you saying Chadwick not being recast made sense. It didn't make sense. How many people
Yeah.
played Superman? How many people played Batman? How many
Right,
people
How many
played
people
the Hulk?
playing Spider Man?
right.
Yeah, and then there was people who died playing. You had somebody play the Joker. He died.
Christopher Reed and died. Like, come on. Yeah,
Heath
Jared.
Ledger.
Yeah,
The
Heath Ledger.
character.
Yeah,
These are actors. We love them, but the characters are the characters, regardless of who
and
plays.
that's Chadwick's Black Panther.
Yeah, that's his
But
one.
somebody else can do another Black Panther, right? Like
Exactly, like
Christopher
my boy
Reeves got
Hodge.
his. That's
Christopher
Christopher
Reeve
Reeve.
was Superman,
Exactly.
Yeah,
but you done had plenty of other actors play Superman on the big and small screen.
I mean, if you're gonna adapt a comic, if you're gonna adapt a comic into a movie, adapt a comic into a movie. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't take like the name of a comic character and then just make a new character in the movie and just fake us all out like we're getting ready to go see a character that we know from the comics and you just make up a new character for the movie. I feel like if you're gonna adapt a comic, adapt the comic. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon is not nowhere in the comics. He was made for the TV show.
Exactly. And he
Right.
became the most famous out the whole TV show. Besides
Yes, he did.
Rick Michonne, Daryl Dixon was that dude. You can count on him to bring you the action. You know what I mean? You look for him. You
Right.
look for his vest, his jacket. You know what I mean?
You saw the Daryl Dixon show?
Oh hell yeah, dope.
Yeah, dope.
Yeah, shoot.
But
I
yeah.
mean, if there was an apocalypse with some zombies, I'm going out like Daryl Dixon with the silent. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out like
Mhm. Hell yeah.
he
But
survived.
yeah, Masters of the Universe set for release June 5th, 2026, with Travis Knight on board to direct He-Man's return to the big screen. Once again, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Sam Wilson as Trapjaw, Hathor Bjornsson as Goatman, Kojo Atta as Triclops. Rounding out the villains is Evil Lynn, Skeletor's second in command, to be played by Allison Brie. Trapjaw is a recurring villain in the. This is what he said. One of the insiders said Trapjaw is a recurring villain in the franchise, known for his cybernetic enhancements and a versatile weaponry. Goatman is a minor villain known for his goat-like appearance and association with Skeletor's forces, while Triclops is one of Skeletor's most resourceful and tech-savvy henchmen, a skilled swordsman who's a master of surveillance and technology. Opposing the villains are Nicholas Galatzine's He-Man. Nicholas Galatzine, who is that? He's playing He-Man. Camila Mendez as Tila. And, of course, Idris Elba as Duncan. But who is this guy? Nicholas Galazalantine. Oh, okay. I know who that is now. So, yeah, this is He-Man. I don't know. Wow. Oh, no, y'all. What y'all think? What y'all think? A little young for me, but I don't know. I think I want to see a little more gravitas
Dolph
in my
Lundgren
He.
can play He-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
anybody
guess
can
he's
play
gonna
He-Man.
be more of a Prince Adam. We actually gonna see Prince Adam and He-Man in the same movie.
Right. That's Prince Adam, yeah.
Just
Mm.
because they go CGI He-Man.
No, looks like he's a little more manly here, I guess. Then maybe that's how I'll do it.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's wild. Not who I would have cast for He-Man. So,
Again, we wouldn't cast him, but you know, with
but
the effects
what do
that,
I know?
you know, what we say about Skeletor, it could be used for him as well. You know what I mean? We don't know until we see the effects they put on him and
Right.
things of that nature. So, I mean,
Makeup.
we have to be even on that. You know, we may
Yeah,
not like
makeup.
Yeah,
My
it's
bad, bro.
interesting, bro. It's fucking interesting, man.
The Adam and Aaron Nee wrote the original version of the script with David Callahan, who did the Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and Chris Butler are gonna rewrite it. So, but yeah, exact plot details are being kept under wraps, but it's safe to assume that it will center on the ongoing battle between He-Man, as the universe's most powerful man, and then evil Skeletor. The movie will be based on the whole Mattel toy line, which spawned the successful TV series we grew up on, 83 to 85, as well as the 1987 live action film starring Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. And the property centers on the warrior He-Man as the last hope of a magical land called Eternia. Jared Leto most recently transformed as the Hot Box Ghost in the most recent live action adaptation of Disney's Haunted Mansion, so the role feels like a natural progression to be Skeletor. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, you remember him
Look,
in
we didn't.
Morbius?
Yeah,
Like that
Morbius.
makeup was crazy in Morbius. That makeup was
Yeah,
crazy.
Morbius.
Like
Yeah,
he
it was
looked crazy as fuck. Like
Yeah.
that's a scary dude. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah,
imagine
what
a
critics
store like
we
that.
didn't remember. We didn't like Michael Keaton as Batman until we saw him.
Right, right.
We didn't like who else? We didn't like Ben Affleck. People was cursing on that when they
Oh my
blah,
goodness,
people was
people
just
going off
messed
with
up.
Ben
Yeah.
Affleck being
Yeah, it was
Batman.
going
Shit,
nuts.
nobody thought
Henry
Robert Downey Jr. was a Tony Stark,
Jr. was it.
Um,
Exactly.
and he
yeah.
And
killed it.
don't forget Henry Cavill. Nobody wanted Henry Cavill to play Superman.
But
And
with
guess
with
what?
with the
Damn
Ben
good.
Uh,
Affleck thing, they didn't like him being Batman because he fucked up Daredevil.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
But I
I ain't
think he
gonna
was
lie, I
a
kind of
great
like
Bruce
this movie.
Wayne. I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
and I think you need to play a good Bruce Wayne to play Batman. That's
Yeah.
I think the most important thing.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, that I can see him as Skeletor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
could
just,
too.
What Leto? Jared Leto? Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
I mean, I can see him as Skeletor. I just gotta see him. Like when they like for me, if they when they announce, all right, cool, he gonna be
Well, looking at
Skeletor.
that Morbius
I just
photo,
would
I
like
can
to
see
see
that.
him.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to
would.
hear his voice as
That's what I was
Skeletor.
gonna say. I just want to hear his voice.
Yeah. He be like, hey man. I want to hear that shit.
Yeah, because
Man.
Skeletor
Drake
had that
Marlon
distinctive.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he had that distinctive voice, that laugh. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, Skeletor was just.
Yeah, man. But
Yeah.
yeah. We all love the Superman trailer. Spade, you didn't really get to kind of watch it with us and chop it up with us, but I
I
assume
did, but I
you've seen
watched
it,
it.
right? You watched it with us through the chat, right?
Both. I watched it during the chat the other day, and like when I woke up from work the other day, I had like 5 or 6 messages on the phone. Especially check this out. I know you being stupid, but check it out. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it and watch it objective. And I did. And I was like, don't get me wrong, it still didn't give me no type of excitement to see it. But
Okay.
however, but I'm like, I picked out a lot of things that were reminiscent to me of past Superman stuff. Like the guy playing Lex Luthor reminded me a lot of Michael Rosenbaum's Lex from Smallville.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of cool. Superman being in the snow, landing in the snow, reminded me of Man of Steel when he emerged as Superman. And the one scene where Lois is sitting down and Clark's looking all off in the distance, like looking confused, remind me of Brandon Routh in Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, like again, I still hope the movie does well. So because I'm like, Superman needs a win, bottom line.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I did check it out, and it was like, I'm still hoping it's not a train wreck or oversaturated because of the other characters it's planning on introducing. Because I was kind of like, could you can introduce them? Are they gonna have big parts or bit parts? And if they're gonna have bigger parts, like why not just go ahead and do a Justice League movie?
I think from what I've seen of it, I think what it is, Superman will be battling these guys because
Like
of
he
a
be battling the heroes.
a misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Something is going to cause them to try to go after Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Until they realize that, yo, we've been doing something totally wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
now we're going to join forces with Superman. I think that might be the play. But
Yeah,
my favorite part was Crypto. That right there. That I
that
love.
shit was
Man,
dope.
when old he was like, and you seen Crypto come. I was like, oh, and the cape. I was like, I'm happy. I'm at
Bruh, I
We can't.
teared up, bro, watching that shit. That was amazing because it,
and
it brought me. It was so nostalgic. And I'm not even a Superman fan. I'm a Marvel guy, 100%.
Mm.
Not even a DC guy. You know, I fuck with it now, but yo, it feels like comic books again. It feels like a good superhero. It feels like when I was a kid. It feels like when I first saw Christopher Reeves as Superman. It felt like when I first saw Batman in '89. Like that's the vibes I'm getting from Gunn and from James Gunn's DC universe right now.
Mhm.
But when it comes to superhero movies, things have just been really depressing for a while now. And you know, the DC and Marvel universe has had their share of, you know, struggles trying to rebuild their shit over the years. But even though they've gotten it right, you know, in some cases, you know, Wonder Woman was dope, Spider-Man No Way Home. But the big problem is that because these universes are so big and complex, a lot of care is needed to make sure that the result is as close to what the audience wants as possible, and as close to what fans of the material, you know, recognize. And along the way, for a bunch of reasons, DC and Marvel both lost their way. Both of those universes, both the DCEU, both the MCU, in my opinion, have lost what made them great in the beginning and lost what we loved about them. And I felt that was going to happen after Endgame and when they were going to switch cast, because I didn't know. I knew that they couldn't. I knew that the reason Endgame and Infinity War were so epic and that whole shit worked out the way it did is because of that whole buildup, the way it felt, the whole vibe when you first saw Iron Man, that whole buildup, all those years, all those movies building up, building up, building up to Endgame. Well, now they're trying to do a Avengers, two Avengers movies with the Russo brothers, trying to recapture the Infinity War Endgame. The problem is those movies by themselves, Infinity War and Endgame, if you really analyze them and just watch them as standalone movies, it's the buildup that made them important and made them great. If it wasn't for that 10-year buildup or whatever, you know what I mean? They would just been good movies, decent movies, but they were epic because of that buildup, and they don't have that buildup now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But with all the changes announced this year, I think 2025 is finally going to be the year of the reboot, the rebirth, I should say, of the comic, of the superhero genre. Just little stuff that we've seen. Deadpool and Wolverine was a great. Their seeming change of attitude and bringing back Russo brothers and realizing that we need to get back to characters and writing and story, and James Gunn coming out with a universe where he's literally directly adapting comic runs, like taking graphic novels and adapting them into movies. And the reason that's significant is because Marvel, what they'll do is they'll just, like, we want to make an Iron Man movie, so we can use anything that Iron Man's ever done in Marvel. And if you know anything about comics, that's insane. There's different eras, different writers, different runs, different universes. They're completely different characters. It's like, and so when you try to mix all that shit together, it's cool. You can, bring all the stuff that you recognize throughout the years and all that, but that fizzles out and you get what we call superhero fatigue, because you get burned out because there's no fucking substance, there's no story, because no one has written a story out of that. And so every time, that's what people are, oh, you just want to see, why do you want to see a comic directly adapted? It's not all about that. It's about, I want to see a good story in the movie. And I know comic writers write good stories. It's literature. The writing is there. That's why these characters are beloved. That's why they're making movies about them. So we want to take those stories and adapt them, just like we take great novels and adapt them. I think I used this analogy before because it's a really popular universe, and there's a big, there's 10, 15 books or whatever. Say you took the Harry Potter universe. You wouldn't make the first Harry Potter movie have shit from the 6th, 8th, and 9th book in it.
Right.
You feel me? You wouldn't have the finale of the Harry Potter movie have shit from the third and fourth movie in the ending of the. You know what I mean? You would never do that. You would adapt each movie directly, and that's how they need to do comic stories. Respect comics the way you respect novels is all I'm saying, and that's the problem is they don't. They don't respect comics as legitimate stories. Like, oh, it's just a comic book. Oh, we the characters in Marvel. We could just take anything. Nah, B.
But
But with
see,
this, with,
Tired of
people
that.
get like stuck in 1950s thinking of comics are for kids, and like we've known since the 80s, comics are not for kids. You know,
Mm.
even though we were
Facts.
kids collect them in the 80s, they weren't kid stories.
yeah,
And
Right.
you know,
No,
just like you
they
touched on and
weren't.
said, when you're telling a story, just like we did when I was in the wrestling ring, you had to take the people on a journey. You had to take them up, you had to take them down.
mm.
To slowly build back up, you coast a little bit, take them back down. Then you take it up and take it home. That's the finish of
Mm-hmm.
a match. It's the same way writing a comic book. You have to take them up, you have to take them down. You have to take them back up, let them coast a little bit, back down, back up, coast a little bit more, then take it home.
It's
And
a formula.
the build up to Infinity War and Endgame, you know, that's what made those movies, you know, great to me because I was like, hey, and I know a lot of people complain about Infinity War, like, man, the Avengers lost. They were supposed to lose. Because any good comic book writer knows the hero has to win every time. The villain only has to win one time. But that one time is going to be the epic time. So, because that hero is like, I've not known defeat. Now, how do I come back from it?
Yep, you're absolutely correct. And this Superman, I really believe. See, James Gunn, he goes for the everyday person. Now, if you look at the Superman, everybody complains about the different things and nuances about the Superman. He looks too plain, or he's not as buff as Cavill, or the suit, or even with Crypto the dog. He looks mangy. He looks regular. That's what
Right.
Superman's supposed to embody. When
Right.
someone wrote Superman, I forget off top. It was for the everyday guy, so you
Right.
can feel super in your life. So you can say, "Hey, I can relate and and become that superhero to my
Mm-hmm.
kids or my family or my neighborhood or what have you." So
Mm-hmm.
that's where he's grasping at when he writes this stuff. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's like even in his humor, is that everyday guy humor, everyday person humor. Matter of fact, because he has females who comes with their shit too. So it's like that's what he's doing. He's making it relate, but through a beloved character. And I think this is he's gonna hit it out the park with this one, man. I
Bruh.
I
I
think
believe
this
it.
man, I like where he's going because he gives you that everyday guy. Look at the first Superman movie we see with Christopher Reeves. He was an everyday dude.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You loved him because he was that honest,
Right.
everyday dude guy. You know, and he
Right.
went up against other everyday dude guys who were somewhat shaky and criminal. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Lex Luthor. Come on,
Right.
Lex Luthor. He's that sniveling dude on Wall Street. Really, you know what I mean? He's one
Mm-hmm.
of them dudes. So he's
Yeah.
like, okay, money versus justice. You know what I mean? It's. I think it's dope, man. And
Hell yeah.
we just gotta see, you know. And once we see, and boom, we're good.
He said, "I don't get fatigued because I watch tons of." I feel superhero fatigue is a term that the media made up, and it's a ridiculous term, and it's stupid because there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. Because superhero movies have been around since movies were silent. I mean, they've always been around. Superhero movies have been.
Yeah.
It did not start with the MCU. It didn't start with Blade. It didn't start with Superman. It didn't start with Donner. It's
Right.
been around
No.
since black and white.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Superhero fatigue is a bullshit term. What we're fatigued with is that same goddamn movie over and over that Marvel keeps doing. It's
The
whack
same
movie
formula.
fatigue. It's non-writing fatigue. It's I'm
Don't
tired of
be
that same origin story formula superhero movie that they do every fucking time. Fatigue.
That's one thing I can
But I
say
Yeah.
want to see.
I can give James Gunn credit for is he said when he does Superman and Batman, he's not doing origin stories because we've seen them.
Yeah.
How many times can you do the damn origin stories? Like anybody that can read and has common sense knows Superman and Batman's origin story.
Right.
We know
Come
Peter
on.
Parker's origin story. We know
yeah.
Captain America's origin story. We know Iron Man's origin story. Those don't need to be told
Mm.
20 plus years, 30, 40 years later.
And if you don't know it,
Go read the
honestly,
comic.
go read the comic. But if you don't know it, the DCU, the James Gunn joint, it's not really geared for you. And I don't mean to say that like it, but he's doing these movies like this universe, and yeah, of course it's for the it's he wants everyone to buy a ticket, but it's made first for a comic fan, whereas the MCU is made first for the casual audience.
Mhm.
And why that's significant is because like if comic fans approve it, everyone else will go see it. If comic fans say this movie sucks and this isn't accurate and blah blah blah, then eventually people are going to come around and realize that it sucks and not fuck with it. So and that goes with any genre, like any war movie, right? When Full Metal Jacket came out, Vietnam vets were like, that shit was real. They were like, out of any fucking Vietnam movie I've ever seen, Full Metal Jacket was the most like really being in Nam, and that made people want to go see it. So like, if all the vets said, man, that shit wasn't real, that's not how it was, like, not at all. That's completely fabricated. That's made up. There's
You
nothing
mean
like that.
Apocalypse Now? You mean
People wouldn't go
Apocalypse
see it.
Now, right?
No, I mean Full Metal Jacket.
For real?
Yeah, yeah. Full Metal Jacket. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
mixed up with
Boot Camp.
Apocalypse Now was crazy.
Apocalypse Now too. Yeah.
Full
Fuck
Metal
yeah. Apocalypse
Full
Now
Metal
too.
Jacket was the closest thing you'll get to, like, I was in Marine Corps boot camp, and I'll be honest, it literally it mimicked it. That's everything they did in it was stuff we did. But you
Because the
gotta
dude
remember it
was
was
a
in the
real drill
70s.
sergeant.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah, it
remember
was
it was in
that
the, yeah.
era.
You gotta remember it was in the
Right.
70s. It was in the 70s
Vietnam.
era where things were a lot different than they
A
were in
lot
the
different.
80s, and then the 90s it changed. But
Mm.
for the most part, when they had him standing on line and he was going through, even when they got out of the shower and they were standing like this, and he was
Yeah, yeah.
there's no, they
It's
did that
always
to us. Like, they literally inspect you when you got out the shower, and if you weren't circumcised, you had to pull your foreskin back. No lie, they'd be like, oh, if you ain't circumcised, gotta pull back their foreskin, and
Mhm.
they would inspect you. The
Damn.
only difference is the only thing that I could say that they
Kosher.
didn't do is, maybe it wasn't back then, but I think it was. I had to ask somebody. I had to ask an older Marine next time I meet one. But we had three drill instructors. So we had the head drill instructor, and then
Mhm.
you got the heavy,
Heavy.
and then you got the basic drill instructor, and then you got a sergeant. So the sergeant is the head of all of them. But you had three drill instructors that did what that one drill instructor do now. But we had bigger classes when I went through than they did back then. They would split them off into smaller groups and train them. But
Mm.
the drill instructor was God. Like even when they were marching around the barracks, this is my rifle. We did all of that. We did all of that,
Mm.
bro. Standing on line, the foot lockers. When he went through the foot locker and the dude had to open foot locker, they would
Get
do
the
that. They
jelly
would go
donut
down,
in there.
leave your foot, leave your foot like, and yeah, they got jelly donuts on Parasol, and that's a true thing. We don't eat them. We
Yeah.
never ate them because you would get in trouble. If you ate it, listen, we had a guy one time.
Jelly
We were in
donut.
They
child,
just
and
had
he
to
had a
test your
jelly
ass.
donut. He had a jelly donut on his tray, and we kept telling him. We kept like you in the child, you can't move because they see everything. So you sitting like this and you eating, you doing this. That's all they want to see.
Ass, too.
You better put your head down. You better look for it. You better look to the right left. You better just be doing this. That's all you can
Mhm.
do. And so they walk around periodically and just look at our trays. And one kid had a jelly donut on his tray. And he was like, and the instructor was like, "Is that a jelly donut that I see on your tray?" And the dude was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Sir, yes, sir." He was like, "Why is there a jelly donut on your tray?" He was like, "Donut." He said, "This, I'll never forget this." He said, "Pastries weaken the mind and the body." He said, "But go ahead
Mm.
and eat it
Mm.
because we're gonna work it off." So then the kid tried to get up and throw the donut out. And the drill instructor caught him, was like, "Stop right there. Eat that donut." He's standing at the garbage can, eat the donut. Like literally with the tray, just eat the whole, and he ate the donut. And then when we got out, they IPT'd the hell out of him when we got back to the barracks. And then it was like, and then they looked at all of us. They looked at all of us and was like, "Anybody else want a donut?" It's like, no. It's like, Marines don't eat donuts. Pastries slow down the mind and the body. So don't eat them because you're in boot camp. You can't be slow. I swear to God, it'd be boxes of them. in the jail, sitting there.
Niggas
We
there
would never
test
touch them.
your ass.
We never touched them. We
I'd have
never
been
touched them.
discharged so damn quick for eating them damn donuts.
But you listen, we never touched them donuts. Well, I was in 3rd Battalion too, bro. Like that's 3rd
Mm.
Battalion is the worst. Like people be like, oh, I was in 2nd for now. 3rd is the worst because you all the way you pass battalion. So like there's nobody that comes out there really. The officer of the day might come out there at the end of the day. And that's the only person that's gonna save you if they IPT you too much or I see it, listen, I see drill instructors IPT guys over spaghetti because they ate
Mm.
spaghetti. Y'all eat spaghetti? Y'all know what happened when we eat spaghetti? You're gonna see that twice. Go ahead, eat up. You be like, damn.
Damn.
Like you couldn't like even when I
You
got in
say you gonna
fleet,
throw it up.
Ooh, you gonna
even
see
when
it
I got in
twice.
fleet, one thing I could tell you about the Marine Corps, they was real finicky about us and food. Like one time, I remember I never forget this. I was a scribe. I was on Paris Island, and I remember they had sent 4 dudes to Master Gunnery Sergeant. So he was over battalion. And when they came in, I'm like, damn, what do you want to see these jokers for? Like, I'm like, wait right here. I go get the master gun. He came out and chewed him out in the hallway for walking. They went to in Beaufort. There's a hospital that's next to Paris Island, so we got a detachment there. Somebody saw them, or another Marine must have saw them go through the food line twice. So when they got back, they got chewed out, and he was like, Marines only go through the line one time. Y'all went through the line twice. He was like, you never go through the line. Suspended their off-base privileges, everything for like a month, just for going through the line twice.
Damn.
Just for going through the
Damn.
line. Then,
So,
swear to
so
God,
like,
you in uniform, you better not go through that line twice. I don't care if you need catch up. You won't go back up there. You go
so
one time,
like
you
you
get your
said,
food, you go,
that
you
that
get out.
movie was real because you lived it. So you know
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you've
Yeah.
been
Full
through it.
Metal
yeah.
Jacket.
You know
That
what
boot
food
camp.
The
is about.
boot, the boot camp part, that was real. And you had guys off themselves in boot camp. Like you had guys try to escape, swim off the island, die.
Yep.
Guys shoot themselves when we go. Well, when they had the rifles, that's called snapping in.
Mm-hmm.
Go snap in. And guys kill themselves or shoot the drill instructor. So
Yeah, like Full Metal Jacket. He shot him.
yeah,
He
like
shot the drill
I'll keep it
instructor
in the
and then
buck,
shot
bro.
himself.
Bro, like, I'm keeping it in the buck.
They go
Like,
down
but
like
we did like they don't let you keep like now. Back then they let you keep the rifles the way they had them loaded inside the back. They don't do that no more. You can't.
Mm.
You the only time you get ammo for that weapon, you had a weapon
You
before
on
you
the
snap in.
range.
Because when you go to the range, that's the only time they're gonna give you ammo.
Yeah.
And it's different drill instructors. It ain't the same drill instructors down there that that you see when you in the barracks. It's a whole new set. And so
Mm.
that's that they do that because you might be pissed off at them guys. Be like, you know what, man? As soon as I get this, I'm gonna kill this joke.
Mm.
But
For many
Full
reasons.
Metal Jacket was, but it was a good movie. Full Metal Jacket was a good movie because you got to remember the Vietnam era. They fought a lot, bro. Like a lot of Vietnam vets, they fought like people talk about World War II. They be like, oh, it's a great war. It was. It was an important war. I get it. But the fighting aspect of it wasn't as great as Vietnam. In Vietnam
Say great.
and
You
World
say
War II, because in
Bruce.
World War II,
Big.
the average soldier fought about 50 something battles a year, like
Mm.
53 battles a year, something like that. It was I know it was less than 100.
Yeah.
And Vietnam, they fought like 183 days a year.
Constant.
So you
All
go
the time.
from fighting 53 days a year, 60 days a year to 180 something days a year. That's like
Mm.
triple. That's like triple the
Triple.
fighting.
Yeah.
Vietnam, they was getting it in, bro. They was when I
Yeah,
tell you
bro.
this, and that's why a lot of people were against that war because guys came back messed up. I mean,
Yeah.
they came back with their fingers and toes, but their minds were messed up. You
Jacob's
go to
Mm.
a
ladder.
war, you want to come back. Yeah, you want to come back with your
My
mind right
dad was
because your
supposed to
family
go to
don't deserve that.
Vietnam, but he couldn't because he was the only male in his family.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah, you
then,
lucky,
like,
man.
also looking at, like what we were talking about earlier with stuff being real, looking at comic books from that era too, how they've
Yeah.
changed because
It was
you
a lot
can't
of
just
it was a lot of
yeah,
Vietnam
like
comics.
we ain't got no Superman and Batman that's gonna go fight in this war and end the war for us. So like a
Sergeant
lot of
Fury. Yeah.
Remember
a
that
lot of
movie
Yeah,
Fury
Sergeant Fury.
things like that.
with Brad Pitt with the tank? It's about a tank called Fury.
Oh, that's my favorite. Yeah, Fury. That's my movie right
That was
there.
dope. But
Yeah,
the
that
poster,
movie was dope.
when I seen the poster in the theater, I knew that this had to been a Nick Fury movie. They were doing a OG because the Samuel L. Nick Fury was already going on, but I was like, oh, this has got to be. They're gonna go back and do the OG, the white eye patch, the old
David
school Nick
Hasselhoff.
Fury movie, and I swore to God it was gonna be that. Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, ended up being that. But Superman and the Fantastic Four first steps are both gearing up to I think restart the genre. Like this whole I think it's gonna kind of things are gonna start changing. I think Wolverine and Deadpool kind of already did, but uh I think reboot is important, a restart, something I think the MCU needs to completely start over, but that ain't gonna happen. But they just need to start doing shit a little differently. And maybe DC Studios and Marvel Studios have realized that productions like you know, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and the Marvels taking chances on sequels that weren't so hot. And but the same goes for the new releases, right? The best move is to cut things off early and start fresh
Yeah.
because it's clear that the disorganization played a lot of role, a big role in the bullshit. But yeah, good management is key. But above all, picking the right story to adapt, and adapting that story is crucial. With some dope prospects ahead. 2025, I think, looks like it's going to be that year for both DC and Marvel. The DCU and the MCU, I think, are going to see a great future, but a great year. I mean that year, but with the announcement of the new phase for the MCU, you have James Gunn taking over as co-CEO of DC. Uh, it's clear that both companies have recognized the mistakes that were causing the bullshit, in the past, and external factors like the COVID and the pandemic, rather, and the Hollywood strikes and all of that stuff. But beyond that, the lack of story over politics, that's been a problem. And the MCU, always stood out for its interconnected, unified, universe. But even the MCU, has I think gone down dramatically. But the situation isn't too different from the DCEU's failure either. And since Gunn has already pointed out that the inconsistency between films and series in the universe is one reason that he believes that audiences lost interest, because DC had a big disconnect. They have all their shows on the CW and all their characters in the movies, and none of it was related. And they feel like that was a problem. And so the DCU is going to keep everything connected. All the TV shows are connected to the movies, are connected to the animated, is connected to the video games. All the same actors are going to play the same characters amongst all the different mediums. So, if Frank Grillo,
That's dope.
yeah, is Rick Flag in the cartoon, he's going to be Rick Flag in the movie, he's going to be Rick Flag in the show, and he's going to play Rick Flag in the video game. He's going to voice him in whatever. So, I think it's dope. I think it's a good idea, and it'll be really cool because it'll feel like a real
It feel
universe with
familiar.
different mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah, and familiar. Yeah, exactly. And remakes and reboots have been the trend in Hollywood, but in the case of the superhero genre, it's actually a logical move. It's actually, it's something that I don't think will be a novelty. It's something that is needed. Um, New takes on the same characters, a fresh approach, but I think it'll appeal to the loyal fans, but also the new generation, which is what they want to do. And it's easier to integrate characters into shared universes, right? Help clean up the franchises, avoiding the timeline inconsistencies and all those issues. And so reinventing things is the most sensible option right now. And I think Gunn is doing it already. So I just wish that Marvel would give James Gunn Kevin Feige's job, to be honest. Because I would love to see them do. I would love to see them do what they're doing with these DC characters with my Marvel characters. But
But
That's
but then
I'll
Marvel
just
is
have
a
to agree.
whole. It's a, like we were saying, Marvel is a whole nother beast in its sense. The way they create their characters, you can see DC has a certain. I mean, they all have troubled characters,
Yeah,
but I think it's the tone of it too. like DC to me when I was growing up was more serious. Even though they had fun characters, it was a little bit more serious than the Marvel. The Marvel is like,
Well,
yeah,
DC is more like traditional superheroes, like real superheroes, like real powerful gods, and like Marvel is more like
I mean,
guys that have powers, like regular people that have powers.
I always equated DC. Besides Superman, it was more dark.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying in tone. Even though the
yeah,
characters were
sometimes.
colorful, they were mostly dark. Where
Yeah,
Marvel was lighthearted. Even though they went through their stuff, they just took it to the lighthearted stage where the fantastical about it. You know, the
and Stan
ridiculous.
wanted you to be he wanted your character to have the same kind of problems you have. That's why Spider-Man, has trouble paying the rent. He's
Yeah.
not a billionaire. You know what I
But
mean? That's
He's
why
an everyday
that's
dude.
right. He's an everyday dude, and that's kind of what Stan Lee was trying to do when he took over, and that's what made Marvel what it is now. Is that's their motto was Marvel the world outside your window, because it's supposed to be, and shit takes place in New York, in Queens, in Hell's Kitchen, in Chicago. You know what I mean? Not Metropolis and Gotham and Center City or whatever these made up places. That DC was more of a fictional superhero, traditional superhero. I mean, they cornered the market on that shit, and so Marvel couldn't compete. No one could compete with DC. So Marvel had to do something different, and that's what they did, and that's why they're so different. And that's why they both can exist and both be mega big and both be just as big. Don't you know that? That's why they never, it never one. It's never just one of, like, you know what I mean. Like, they don't win. Like, it's both. They're always going to be the big two. One is never going to beat the other because they're both so different, and yet so, you know what I mean. They have they're both kings. They're the peak of what they do.
Mhm.
Put it like that. They're the peak of what they do.
Let me ask y'all a question. Like, what do you think should movies like Marvel and DC Studios have more comic book writers writing stuff for their movies, or should
Absolutely.
or what?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
Tom King is writing some some of these DCU projects.
Yeah,
Tom King is a comic writer that's writing some of
right.
the. So yeah, that's awesome to me. I think
Because I'm like, I think it's
Jonathan Hickman should write some movies, and a lot of these comic writers.
Yeah.
because I'm thinking about that one day, and like I was watching one of your shows, and you and Stu brought up uh brought up a topic like that. And I'm like, man, because I know Stu, we talked about it a lot. You would be like, Hollywood isn't that smart, and you're right.
They are.
Like,
They are.
they really
It's
are.
true.
But I'm like, why would you continue hiring writers and then you want to consult comic book writers, but yet your comic book movie is so different from, like you said, Raw Talking, you said, Reno, earlier, from what we know, what we grew up on, what we read.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, I get it. I have friends that were just like, well, if you know what the movie's about, why would you want to go see it? Because I want to see what I'm reading and playing in my mind actually play out in my eyes, in front of my eyes. That's why.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't want to, I get it. Some things are going to be nuanced. You ain't going to just take straight from the comic book and, put it on screen and everything. I get it. It's not that feasible, but I'm like, don't change it so damn drastically that we don't recognize it. Just like you were saying earlier, Reno, about the Sorcerer Supreme. Don't change it so drastically that people don't recognize it.
Yeah.
Right.
Hire some comic
Even
book writers. That's what I think.
and remember when they did the Mandarin? The Mandarin
Yeah,
was an actor.
Oh, people
You
were
know,
Oh
hot
man.
about that.
that
Man, listen.
it was clever. Don't get me wrong. It was clever of them to do that. It threw a loop. It was clever, but it wasn't what we needed as clever at the time.
It's
We
like,
wanted,
sure, it's clever, but
yeah,
I
we
want to
want
see
to
the
see the
Mandarin.
Mandarin.
yeah,
Yeah, the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, be clever with some
Yeah.
shit you invented. That's
yeah,
my thing.
Like,
yeah,
Be clever with some shit you made up. Don't twist my shit up and try to act like it's yours. And that's what these guys do. They try to, and I don't know. I like when these characters. I like when these filmmakers and shit like respect the source material and they're fans of it and they love it. So when they, like you see Gunn in the comic shop buying comics. Like, this dude reads comics. He's been a fan his whole life. He's a fan of the material. So he's
same
gonna
thing
put
with
his
Bruce
own
Tim.
spin on it. Bruce
Yeah.
Tim, right? They're gonna put their own
Superman
spin
saving
on it, of course,
100%.
but they respect it so much, so it's gonna, it's gonna be recognizable.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a Q&A session with about the Superman trailer at the press event where Gunn explained why David Cornsweat's Superman is so badly wounded at the beginning of the trailer. Because I mean, we were talking about like, what is he? Why is he beat up? Like, did he just get in a fight? Does the movie start with him already laying in the crater bloody, or do we get to see how he ends up that way, or what? But according to Gunn, Superman represents the inherent kindness of American people, which can be seen as uncool and under siege by some of the darker voices. He said, this is Gunn talking, quote, "We do have a battered Superman in the beginning. That is our country. I believe in the goodness of human beings, and I believe that most people in this country, despite their ideological beliefs, their politics, are doing their best to get by and be good people, despite what it may seem like to the other side, no matter what that other side might be. The movie is about that. It's about the basic kindness of human beings, and that it can be seen as uncool and under siege by some of the darker voices and that are some of the louder voices," end quote. And so what I take that to be is that politically it's going to be more along the lines of uniting people rather than, oh, we're liberal, or oh, this is going to be, we're right leaning in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this is about comics, this is about Superman. This ain't about left and right fucking politics.
Right.
So yeah, I dig that shit. I dig that. He said, "I'm excited for people to see the essence of what we're doing because it really has been like this private secret that we've all been hoarding." He said, "We felt really good about it, like from a moral place, even from the beginning. We all felt like we were doing something good, both in terms of quality and in terms of actually something that's not a fantastic power fantasy. I'm not saying that about the other hero movies in general, but it felt good to be doing something that was about a person's kindness." And I take that to be like, this is more about a character study. This is more about, a, a character that you're going to, have a reason to care about, rather than just, we took, these superheroes and all the shit that we've done over the eons that we've been making comic books, and we're showing you a bunch of comic stuff. This is going to be about a guy, you know what I mean? Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, what he goes through, blah, blah, blah. And it'll be a drama like that. So I dig that shit.
But
Yeah.
that's what I was saying before the other day when we were talking about all the new characters. Like when you look at all the characters that's in there with Superman, um, at one point or another, or one version, either his alter ego or himself, they have different relationships with him. But the thing that's
Mm-hmm.
genius about it is they don't know that they all have a relationship with Superman. It's not just Lois Lane. So like Jimmy Olsen
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really interact with Clark Kent like he does with Superman. And who's the other
Right.
guy? That's the guy that was the sports guy. He doesn't. He
Lombard.
doesn't. Yeah.
Steve
Now in the
Lombardo.
comics, yeah, and in the comics, he considers Clark Kent to be his best friend, and him and Clark have a really good relationship. But he doesn't have that same. He doesn't look at Superman the same way as he looks at Clark. But he
Mm.
doesn't know that Clark is Superman. And to have those different interactions with those different characters makes the movie like 3 and 4 dimensional instead of one dimensional where it's just Superman and Lois Lane. Superman saves all of them at one point in time in their careers, all of them from something. So then they learn to
Yeah.
appreciate Superman, but they might not like what he stands for because other people look at Superman as a god or they want to worship him
Right.
because he can fly and he can change, he can build and destroy, he can do things that a regular man can't do. So the genius of that is Superman's interaction with everybody is just it shows you it's just different. But it also shows you how everybody is different or looks at things differently. And they all
Yeah.
look at Superman differently. But when it comes to Clark Kent, they just look at him as a regular dude. He's a mild mannered, like they say, he's a mild mannered reporter. And that's just what he
Yeah.
is. So really,
Yeah.
so really, you gotta think Kal-El is the man. But when
Right.
Kal-El is acting like a human, he's Clark Kent. He's acting. He's not really Clark Kent. He's Kal-El, and
Hmm.
Kal-El is AKA Superman. And that's the genius of it, man. And Superman it's something you can relate to, or we all can relate to, because we all have
Right.
somebody that looks up to us or don't look up to us, or people that do and don't, people that love us, people that hate us, people that agree with us, don't agree with us. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, and it's a relatable character,
You know,
but
you
people
Right.
said
just don't
something
see it
there
that way.
too, relatable, because a lot of people, I have a
Right.
lot of people that's all like, I can't relate to Superman, I relate to Batman better, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I'm like, I can't relate to Batman better because I'm not a billionaire.
Right.
You know, neither one of my parents were murdered.
Right.
It's
I can
true.
relate to Superman because I'm like, one, I never felt I fit in anywhere. Two, when I turned, in my early 30s, my father passed away when I was on the verge of, grasping manhood, like Superman's did. Three, I can
Yeah.
relate to if somebody needs help, that inner, something inside of me wanted to help, even if I can't save their life or whatever, or fly or whatever he can do, but just the will of wanting to. So like that's what makes him relatable to me. It's like it's what we as human race should aspire to be, basically.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I
And
mean,
when
listen.
and when you listen to Jor-El talk to him, you hear what Jor-El tell him. You're not like them, but you agree to them, but they're not the best, but there is good in them. And all that stuff he talked about, the father being the son and the son becoming the father, and sin, all that's relatable. All that's relatable. But people don't see it like that.
That
Oh
part of the
shit!
trailer.
God damn it! Hold on.
When that character wakes up in the morning, a staple of the superhero mythology is there's the superhero and there's the alter ego. And it's actually Bruce Wayne. Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. When that character wakes up in the morning, he's Peter Parker. He has to put on a costume to become Spider-Man. And it is in that characteristic Superman stands alone. Superman didn't become Superman. Superman was born Superman. When Superman wakes up in the morning, he's Superman. His alter ego is Clark Kent.
Yep.
His outfit with the big red S. That's the blanket he was wrapped in as a baby when the Kents found him. Those are his clothes. What Kent wears, the glasses, the business suit, that's the costume Superman wears to blend in with us. Clark Kent is how Superman views us. And what are the characteristics of Clark Kent? He's weak. He's unsure of himself.
Mm.
He's a coward. Clark Kent is Superman's critique on the whole human race. Sort of like Beatrix Kiddo and Mrs. Tommy Plimpton. The point emerges.
But yeah, I love that scene because that's a dope
It's true.
point. Yeah,
It's
the
true.
way he breaks it down, like that's his clothes. That suit, that cape, all of that, that's his stuff. Like that's his the costume is Clark Kent. Every other superhero, when they put on their costume, they put on their superhero costume. When
Mhm.
superhero puts on his superhero, when superhero when Spider-Man puts fuck out of here. When Superman puts on his costume, it's Clark Kent. Jesus Christ. Six Element of Hip Hop. Do y'all have a favorite Superman movie?
Superman 2.
For
Superman
me,
2.
okay, Stu is Superman too. What about Spade? What's your favorite Superman movie?
Man of Steel.
Raw Talk.
Mm. He had to
Oh,
roll
Raw
out.
Talk. Raw Talk's on. He had to roll up.
He
He on
said
mute right
he
now.
had to do. Yeah. He left
Okay.
the thing. He said he'd be right. He said he'd be right back. But I gotta
Yeah,
roll out because
for me, it's Man of Steel too. All right, Stu. Go fight crime, my
Man of Steel.
man. Be safe.
Man of Steel will be my second. But I like the two Richard Donner films, and
Yeah,
I like Man of Steel. But
I really
Superman
like
2 is my absolute. That's my absolute favorite.
That's probably
That's
my
definitely
second.
the quintessential, quintessential Superman or superhero movie, man. Superman 2. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't think there's a more a perfect movie than that.
yeah,
It's just Man of Steel is just my personal favorite. But I
right.
think for the best Superman movie, it's gonna be Superman 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I get.
Man of Steel first trailer
Oh,
was great. Where they had
Stu,
Marlon
before you go,
Brando talking.
I got the
Oh, that's
new
raw. That's raw. Look at that.
but he come with
And
the
he got the
bat, the
cloth
Ace, the Bat Hound.
Yo, that's an old school Batman.
Yeah,
Yo,
bro.
yeah, yo, that's dope, bro.
Oh, hell yeah,
And that's old school Ace too. That's an old school Ace the Bathound. Because
nice.
the new Ace don't look like that. Yeah, the new Ace,
That's Ace right
he
there.
don't. Yeah, the
Yeah,
new Ace don't look like that.
old
He got a
school.
cape and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's dope, bro. That's
and
dope,
yeah, I
man.
like this. I love the character and the paint and everything, but the quality, man. Marvel Legends, the new Marvel Legends have far surpassed the quality of these DC multiverse. Look at these knees. Jesus Christ. What the
He
fuck?
over here making fun of the man's knees.
All ass shit. Look at this. Look at this beautiful. Look at that. No pins. You can't see no pins. That's just smooth right there. That's
Yeah, that
solid.
is. That is.
Oh my goodness.
These
Look
are
at his
great
knees.
quality. Look at his knees, bro. Look at his ankles. They're fucked up. This guy, man, smooth. No
Man, when you get that
pins.
cap, I need that cap. When you get that cap.
Oh man, you can probably get him on Big Bad or one of those right now. Maybe, yeah.
Man,
If not,
man,
yeah, Amazon or eBay.
I've been looking for a good Marvel Legends cap, man. That joint look tough right there.
The new Secret Wars cap you can get right now on Big Bad for sure. And that's a real good classic cap. That's the Secret Wars, the OG
Yeah,
Secret Wars cap. That's a good
that's
one.
the
And
one.
and it's the new like that's what I mean by The new Marvel Legends figures like this. Like the new
Yeah, that's what
quality, man. The new quality. You got this one, don't you, Stu?
that's the Wolverine, the 97,
Yeah.
X-Men
No.
97 joint.
No, it's the
It's
Comic
the
book?
X-Men 97.
astonishing. No, it's not the 97. It's the
That's the astonishing one. That's the
astonishing, yeah.
I put in for order. Of
Yeah,
course,
what
Big
happened
Bad
to
Toy
yours?
Store. I told you
You
about
never
the card and the
okay.
thing with it.
Okay.
So I mean, I can still go in there and get him. I'm just gonna go in there
You
and
need to
order
get
him.
him, bro. He's dope.
But I
It's one
had
of the best.
pre-ordered it because you can't get the 97 one. Everybody just hoards them, and if you want one, you
Mm.
gotta go to Scalper Island, and that's where you gotta get
Woo.
one. So, but with that, I gotta roll out, fellas. I'll catch y'all later.
Hey man, you
All
be
right,
safe.
fam.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, that's the 97 one he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean the quality is just the quality of these. I mean, I love that McFarlane's doing the cloth capes with the wire, like that's really cool and everything. But the quality, these legs are just horrible. When I seen that shit, I was like, they're still making figures like this? Like that's like 90s construction. I wish Raw Talk was here right now. He's the toy guy. Uh this is just I mean, come on, McFarlane. You got to do better than that. And let me tell you something else. This God damn. The pet, the McFarlane pets. Uh so the dog that they gave me, the Ace the Bat Hound,
Uh-huh.
you can see it's just a statue.
Okay.
There's no articulation. His knees don't bend, nothing like that, right?
He just straight.
Statue. Just a statue. And when you stand him up, he kind of wobbles and shit. But here's what Hasbro, Marvel Legends, and GI Joe Classified. This is how their dogs look. There's goddamn.
Absolutely.
It's more articulation on this dog than on the figure than on the people. Sometimes, like you got look ankles, feet, knees, shoulders, neck, head, to the hips. uh, back, leg, knees, ankles, feet, the whole shit,
Wait,
man. It's
he
so
said
much,
torso, hips move.
bro. Everything.
Golly, damn.
Yeah, I mean, you can put them in any pose you want. So, and here's another one they did. There's a like a wild boar, same amount of
Mhm.
shit, all kinds of articulation. So, I mean, for DC to be putting this out, that's just
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
it's messed up, man.
That's real messed up. It's like, yo, man, y'all, come on with your competitors.
Yeah, it sucks because they do have some really cool figures and characters that I want to get, and I mean, I've been dying for a really nice blue and gray Batman, and I really like this old school classic comic blue and gray, man. That's really cool because we've just been, we've had that black suit since '89,
Right.
and I'm excited that Gunn is also going to be doing a Batman movie with the blue and gray suit. Even though they say that Batfleck wore gray and blue, Jesus Christ, but it was so
He was
muted
getting
and
it
dark, you
was
couldn't really.
terrible looking.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about,
But
that comic
right.
classic. Just to be just something different. You know what I mean? Not saying it's better. Not saying it's. I don't want to argue what's better, the black suit or the. I just want to see because it's something different. And the fact that we've got the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, dark black suited Batman.
Hmm.
Let that universe be that universe. Let the DCU universe, which is clearly a more colorful, comic accurate, comic-y type universe, let that have the blue and gray Batman, and it's an older Batman. Pattinson is obviously playing a younger Batman, so
Hmm.
perfect. It's perfect. Because
Do you
people are
know
worried.
if I was gonna say, do you know if James Gunn Batman are him and his Superman gonna be around about the same age, or is gonna be a great age gap between that age?
That I don't know. I know that I think the Batman is going to be older,
Hmm, that's
which
interesting.
I think that's how it is in the comics. I think Bruce is
You
older than.
typically like Bruce is like a few years older than Clark.
Yeah.
Typically, like, but not like a big jump, like more than five. More like
Uh,
8 or 10 years older. It's usually
right.
closer to like 3 to 5.
Oh, well, I think he's gonna be more like 8 to 10 years older. But that I don't know, but that's what I think because in the movie, he's gonna be Damian Wayne's father, so he'll be playing an older Batman. Um, you know, but there's no there's no Justice League movie per se in this first chapter, which
Right.
is fine. They don't have to jump to a Justice League movie already. Like that, I think one of the mistakes was trying to do that too fast. DC jumped right to the Justice League movie instead of giving us more time to build up each character.
Right.
It's kind of like how Marvel did it. They jumped immediately to the team movie and then started doing
The
the
individual.
individual. Right,
But I think
but
that was the thing with the old regime. Like me and my best friend, we did our podcast talked about. It's like I get it. They want to be different and distinguish themselves from Marvel, but it's like they should have went with the same formula. Introduce Aquaman. You introduce Wonder Woman and Batman versus Superman, then it spawned her solo movie. Cool. But then do your Aquaman, your Cyborg, your Flash, then do your Justice League movie. I'm like, it's a proven formula. Why not stick with it? I get
mhm,
that, Marvel did that. You had Iron Man, you had Hulk, you had Cap, you had Thor, you had, so many solo movies before you did your team movie, and then it spawned off more solo movies before the next team movie, and so forth and so on. But it's like they made it a success, so why would you? Well, we're just gonna do something different for the sake of doing something different.
yeah,
And like, I get it. Like I said, I know I'm critical of James Gunn, but like, and even watching the trailer, I'm like, don't get me wrong, like it looks cool. I'm just not. It's like for me, and I was telling my lady this and telling some of my friends this. It's like collecting new comic books, starting off at number one again. It's like this gonna make all these other books I had in of the same character or whatever not gonna make them worth nothing.
yeah,
And so it's just like, damn, man, do I really want to spend, more money on, another volume of books starting at number one? Do I want to spend get reinvested in a new set of comic book movies and stuff? And I'm just kind of like, oh man.
The way I
So
see it was the Henry Cavill universe was like it was like it started up but didn't get really started. It just started and then didn't go anywhere. So I
right,
see it as like we didn't really get into that. This is going to be something that lasts a lot longer and goes farther and has, so if you're going to get invested in one, this would be one to get invested, I think, because this is, I think, one that's planning, it's well thought out, it's well written, it's well planned out. They learned from their mistakes. They learned from, both Marvel's successes and mistakes. Gunn was a part of Marvel's successes, so I think this is going to be a more seasoned, prepared universe than we've ever seen, including that of the MCU. Yeah, in the beginning we see Superman laid out,
I saw
and
that
Gunn,
parallel.
yeah.
I
Well,
saw, I
he
seen that parallel.
Yeah, the Yamcha, because they have the
Yeah,
same exact position. I mean, their arms are in the same position, their legs are in the same position. It's really a really funny thing. But the yeah, the first trailer for Gun Superman portrays Superman as both as, you know, the invincible superhero when he is guarding the girl and fighting the kaiju, also the vulnerable individual, not only as Clark Kent but as Superman. The trailer kind of summarizes his duality as a regular Metropolis citizen and the hero who saves the whole city and takes his time to protect every individual person. And it also provides a glimpse at the negative reactions that Superman can get from people, dude throwing the jar at his head. And so Superman continues to fulfill his duty honorably, without resentment, regardless of what the people think or the public and all of that. And James Gunn's Superman seems to tackle the difference between Superman's sense of duty and that of other superheroes like Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Metamorpho, the Authorities, the Engineer, who we didn't see in the trailer yet. But the Superman, Superman's proximity to the people who admire him makes him a symbol of hope. And whether, and just the contrast between the way, Guy Gardner intimidates an angry crowd with his lantern ring, or Superman just sort of walks through the crowd with his head down, not responding to their insults. And sort of the contrast showing, so it lets us see, superheroes are all kind of ways, but Superman is a special one. Like, he stands out from all these other ones. So that, having the other ones in there, other heroes does that. And while the specifics regarding, how Superman comes to be lying in the snow, calling for crypto for help in the movie are not yet obvious, or going to be, Gunn's not going to tell you that yet.
right.
But the scene does set up several interesting things for the movie. It's clear that the story will show that Superman isn't invulnerable, OP, just a, indestructible, guy that can't ever be beat. And so, that's a lot of people's critique of Superman. So it shows us that he's not going to be that. Despite his immense power that we do see that he has, also in the same trailer, so we know that he's definitely got both. And I think it's evident that the road that leads to crypto dragging him home isn't easy for one. Is not an easy road, for Superman. And so teasing this early leaves us to be eager to learn, who or what could have taken Superman down, especially since we see how powerful it was, and he seems alone way out there in the tundra. Like, and when crypto comes, like, there's nobody else here. Like, who hit him? Like, what's he doing? And so, and then the opening scene, the Fortress of Solitude is out there. We see the
Right.
robot Kellic,
Yeah.
his family
Yeah.
robot is destroyed. Yeah, Keelix. So we see he's destroyed, and so like maybe there was an explosion. Maybe or for some reason he didn't have his power or whatever. We don't know, but we'll have to see, man. And the opening sequence showing his bloody beaten body encourages us to root for and sympathize for Superman, and since his superhero career appears to be putting him through the ringer, we see him having problems with people in public, and up against some seemingly colossal threats, obviously the literal kaiju and other challenges. And these ideas are sort of reinforced by the in-universe people that are like appearing to turn on Superman at the point of the story. And we see, and so you know though beginning the first trailer for Superman with his seeming defeat is a move that should feel jarring to some viewers, but it's one that appears to have been selected for the express purpose of providing an unexpected first look at things, making us be like, oh, this is going to be different. Like, you've never seen a Superman trailer start out with Superman beat down in this, you know what I mean, bleeding.
Right.
You've never seen. So this is going to be different. We know that off top. That's a big statement. And with that said, like, Superman committing everything to doing the right thing and fighting even when those odds are stacked against him is a classic Superman storyline for the character, and ensuring that this sequence also suggests that David Corenswet's Superman will keep the core elements of the DC character that made him a beloved character and made him a an icon that people aspire to look up to. And so he'll be that version of Superman, which is a Superman that a lot of fans have been asking for, especially since the darker DCEU version. And so but Superman has been doing, and listen, I wanted the darker Man of Steel version of Superman. I was not really a fan of Superman before that movie. I'm not a fan of the OP Superman since I got older. Like maybe when I was a little kid, but really, wasn't a fan until Cavill Superman. But like just the way that the superhero genre has been so depressing lately, it's making me want a straight up Boy Scout. You know what I mean? Like I just want a good fucking superhero, a real good comic movie that makes me feel good. And fortunately, James Gunn's Superman promises to delve deeper into all of that, even the negative effects of the qualities than certain other movies, and like him having a pure heart and immense power, and Superman's public perception and the controversial place in the superhero community seem to be a central element of the movie, because remember, this is not an origin story. He's been a
Right.
superhero. People know he exists. They're not looking up in the sky in the trailer going, oh, it's Superman. That's not what they're looking at.
No,
Superman
they
is not
know.
something everyone's staring at.
Right.
Yeah, and when they're well, when
Like,
they got their phone
people are
and they're like
going
looking up
for him. They're like the little boy that's holding the gun flag, and he's like Superman.
with the flag, right?
Yeah. And you
Because
said one thing that I argued with a lot of people this over the years. You can't make Superman dark. You can only make kind of like his things around him, but you can't make him dark. I answered
right.
Slade's question like I want to say it's Metallo, but honestly I'm not sure.
Well, that's
You know, 'cause
Metallo here. That's Metallo there.
it's Metamorpho, isn't it?
I mean, Metamorpho. Sorry, Metamorpho. Metallo is. The dude he's talking
Like what's
about. We
Corbin
seen
in the
him.
movie?
Who?
John Corbin. I was like, I know they had cast somebody John Corbin in the movie that Gunn did, and he's Metallo because he has like a kryptonite heart, but I'm not sure who that
Mm.
cat is that Superman is fighting in the stadium. I know he had him in a heck of a reverse headlock though.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Because Yeah, then they show Mr. Terrific right after that. But we can't tell who that is because he's in the shadow when he busts through. He punched through the glass. You see a silhouette of whoever it is, and he's got some sort of goggles. There's I don't know who that character is, but he's definitely got some sort of goggles that poke out, that stick out like almost like invincible or something. But
Yeah, but going back
Mr.
to my
Terrific
point,
doesn't have that.
nah.
Yeah.
But going back to my point is like for years people called out we need a darker Superman, darker Superman. And I'm like, you don't need a darker Superman. You can have a darker Superman story, but you cannot
Yeah.
have a dark Superman. It's like if that's the
Right.
case, then there would be no need for Batman. Batman is more of a darker hero.
Right.
He's the dark,
Yeah.
Superman is the light. They counterbalance each other.
Yep.
And like
Yeah.
when go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, but like when Man of Steel came out, I was like, yeah, it's a little bit of darker story. And like I dug it because you saw, it's like you got to see him really become Superman more toward the end of the movie. It
But
has a
Henry
darker.
Cavill, personally, that particular Superman, he wasn't dark at all. I didn't think.
He wasn't, but like
I don't think
in
he
the movie,
was.
you
I
got
think
to
the
see him
movie was a
become.
little darker than a Superman
Well,
movie has been, which I loved it. That's why I loved it.
me
Because
too.
it was more serious and shit. But yeah, Superman Cavill, he was definitely not dark at all. Like people want
And I
to,
think
just
so
he
many
killed
people that
Zod. He killed Zod because it was either
he
kill
got
Zod or let Zod kill a little girl and her mom. Like
right.
what are you gonna do?
It was like because you've seen if anybody watched Man of Steel, you've seen him like he's practically begging Zod to stop, and Zod's like never. So like I ain't got no choice. It's either them or it's you. I
Right.
don't want it to be either, but he's like he had to make a hard choice there. So he
Mm-hmm.
snapped Zod's neck. It was like what but yeah, man, that was one of the things. Well, another one I was going to ask you in the trailer, like, do you think at this point, or I guess however long they've known Superman in this world now, do you think Lois knows who he is?
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh, do you think that she know if Clark is Lois or that if Clark is
It's Clark
Superman?
is Superman, yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah, I don't know.
you see her kiss Superman, like when they're flying in the sky. You also
Right.
see her kiss him without, like he's in the civilian clothes without glasses.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's silly if she doesn't know.
at this juncture, I'm willing to be like, I believe she knows.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly if she doesn't know. Like, come on. She kisses him. She kisses both Clark and Superman. She's gonna know who it is. Like, come on.
Don't know who it is.
But yeah, James Gunn Superman trailer, bright colors, classic theme, crypto. Definitely not Zack Snyder's universe anymore. But yeah, the film side of the DC universe is I think gonna be a very cool new thing that I'm excited for. I think the DCU is going to outdo anything that the MCU has done for a long time, and hopefully we'll see Superman and Fantastic Four will both be good.
Mm-hmm.
I right now I'm way more excited for Superman because only because of the fact that the things that I know about Fantastic Four the movie is that I know it's not going to be it's going to be well, it's not going to be like it's not going to be any story that you recognize because first of all Silver Surfer is a female, which only happens in one story in Marvel, and that's when Silver Surfer Norrin Rad and his wife are Silver Surfers together, the twin surfers, because Norrin Rad asked Galactus to let his wife be a Silver Surfer too. And so they're both Silver Surfers together. But at no time in no story is there just a female Silver Surfer and no Norrin Rad. So that right there, I already know that we're making more hodgepodge again. We're doing more collages again. Marvel is dipping in their toy box and picking shit from all over the fucking universe and making a fucking movie with it. So,
Boy,
if
hard
that's
find again.
yeah, more collaging. So it's fine, it's fine, and I'd love to see Galactus, and I hope it's cool and everything, and um, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards could be cool. It could be fine. I don't know. It doesn't bother me that the casting though is kind of weird. I mean, all the cast in that movie is not who I would pick for Johnny Storm at all. The Rock or the Thing casting though, I dig that guy. He's funny. He'll be a good thing.
Hmm.
Invisible Woman, I don't know anything about her, that actress at all, so I don't know. And then again,
I
like I
only
said,
know I only know Pedro Pascal and like I said the guy they picked to be the thing. I'm like, now I agree with you on that one. The thing I think that's good casting. I'm like that'd be all right. The
Johnny
other one,
Storm was the kid from Stranger Things that played the guitar in the third movie. He had the long hair in the fourth season. I mean, fourth or fifth season, the last
uh,
season. I think he's in the last season. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You see that show,
I didn't watch it all the way through, so
Stranger Things? Okay,
think I
so
only watched like the first two
yeah,
seasons, and then I just kind of uh, panned out on it.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
There was another. It was, something else I was going to ask about Superman, but I was talking to my sister last night, and we were talking about the trailer and stuff, and she asked what I thought. I said, well, I don't think it's gonna be a train wreck. I'm like, but it still didn't give me that. I got to go see it. Like I'm just not excited about it. And
Mm,
I told her though, I said, but I got four people that, if they say go see it, I'm gonna go see it. She was like, well, how many of them have to say? I said, well, at least three. She was like, so 75%. I was like, yeah. So you're one of them. My boy J Dog is one of them. My sister's one, and Cooks is one.
yeah.
So it's like I trust all of y'all's judgment. So if y'all be like, bro, go
If
see it.
I'll tell you, bro, when I see it, I'm gonna know if you're gonna like it or not. But I think you will already. But I don't know. I get you not being excited for the trailer just because you but I don't know. I guess as
No,
bad
I
as I
know.
wanted Henry Cavill to stay Superman, as bad as I love that version of the character, and as disappointed as I was to see this happen, I know that he's part of a universe, and he's the only thing in that universe that I really think that I care about really keeping. The rest of it, you can have it. I don't care about any of it. And the problem is you can't take one character from a universe and use him in a new universe. You just can't do that. And so I've come to accept it, and I've accepted it, and it took a long time, but I like accepted it fully to the point that now it's completely out of my mind. I'm totally locked in with Corn Sweat. I think he's going to do a great job. I think he looks perfect for like a really young Superman, which is what he's supposed to be. And the trailer, like I said, man, bro, the fact that I'm excited about Crypto, the super dog, I'm on a different level. Like I said, I'm a Batman guy. Like I didn't ever like Superman, but just maybe it's my age now. I don't know, but like where I'm at in my life, just I really maybe it's the fact that comic movies have been so shit lately. It was something, but whatever it is, like I'm excited as fuck for Crypto. I'm excited for this Superman movie. I'm excited for Guy Gardner's bowl cut. All of that, like all of that
I'm
all of
excited
that,
for God both.
the bowl cut
Did
and all of that.
you never got into Superman and Lois, did you?
No, not no. I didn't. I started to, but I didn't get really into it just because I had so many other things that I had to research, I had to watch, and it just didn't fit. It just didn't
If
fit.
I would say if you get a chance, get time, like start it over. Like the fourth season, even though it was only 10 episodes, they put a lot into it. It has a lot of heart, a lot of story.
Well, you're the
I
reason that I even started to watch it because you recommended it.
it was good. It's
Yeah,
different. It could be like it's literally a not I don't necessarily say grown up, but a family Superman.
yeah, yeah. Right,
Easy to
with the
forget that.
kids, the twins,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
and
I'm like,
the
you
sons.
seen Superman having the balance, being Clark at the Daily Planet, being Clark at the farm, being with Lois, and being Superman. But you never had to see him deal with losing his
Being a
job
father.
and
Right,
being
right,
a father.
right,
And
right,
it's
right,
just like, damn, man, like, this happened to everyday people, like losing a job and still having a family to take care of, but this happened to Superman.
right.
Like, it's a different dynamic. And then like at the in the fourth season, end of the third season, in the fourth season, the way that they did Doomsday, that's like the best live action Doomsday I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I
so,
just I wish, like, I want to see more Doomsday. I wanted to see um or I'd love to see. I don't know. I'm not against. I just don't watch really TV shows that much, like CW shows. I just don't really do. Like, I'm really excited for the DC shows moving forward because they're going to be HBO shows and like
mm,
Max, like HBO Max, like Penguin was great. Uh, a big one that I'm really excited for coming up is the Green Lantern show Lanterns. That's going to be a DC HBO show. Like,
mm,
um made by HBO, and that's a good quality. Those shows are like movies, you know what I mean? Like the movie, like movie quality, cinema quality, production, writing, acting, special effects, makeup, sets, locations, all of that, movie quality. And that's the difference. That's why I never was into shows, because I was always a film buff. I was always a movie
okay.
guy. Like, all my life, you little kid, like since I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a director. Like, I've been a film, like real film buff. Like, and so I never was into TV shows. Yeah, so that's just me. It's not like it's nothing against. Like, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It's just me, personal thing.
Right,
But
just your own preference. I can
yeah,
understand that.
but Lanterns, while the HBO series has been described as grounded, the but James Gunn clarified it's as grounded as any Green Lantern story from the comics. And so the key word is comics,
Right,
and he's telling you that, yeah, it's grounded, but you know how grounded is a Green Lantern comic? They go to Oa, they're in space, they're doing
mhm,
all kinds of shit. It's grounded in the respect of, like, the way maybe that they act and stuff like that. And yeah, this one actually takes place on Earth. And so
mhm,
what he said was, Gunn said, he said, quote, "Well, I don't want to give away all that stuff. I think grounded, just like if Green Lanterns were real, what the fuck would they be and how would they be? I was thinking about it the other morning. The thing that keeps getting out is that it's a terrestrial story. And I'm like, yeah, because it's on Earth. The story takes place on Earth. And everybody's like, we don't want to see Earth. They're from outer space. They fly with rings. I'm like, yeah, they're on Earth for the story, like most Green Lantern stories. But doesn't mean, he said they're terrestrial bound. They're not in outer space. We don't have 1,000 Green Lanterns or any of that stuff. It's not on Oa. It's a grounded story that's being told through another lens in a way that's really, it's an HBO series, and it's going to be an HBO series. I'm happy with that, and I love the scripts. End quote. So this is a show that's been compared to True Detective. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. It's an HBO show that is really a true crime show that has more of
mhm,
like supernatural connotations, and like, I noticed that every season is separate from, each season is a separate story, completely different characters and everything, not related at
okay.
all. And each season, like I said, it's a true crime, like cop detective show, but it feels like something supernatural is there. It feels like something supernatural is going to happen, but it never does. It feels like the
Mhm.
crime or the thing that they're investigating is going to be some supernatural thing, the devil or some shit's going to happen, and it always turns out to be something real, something scientific, or something explainable. And so that's what they're saying it's going to be like. And you know, the series, which has been compared to True Detective, was ordered by HBO in June 2024, and the creative team for Lanterns is Chris Mundy, who did Ozark on Netflix, which is a super good show that if you haven't seen, do yourself a favor. Damon Lindelof, who made Watchmen, which I thought was phenomenal, and the
Mhm.
comic book writer Tom King,
Yeah,
a
wrote a lot
comic
of
book
Batman.
writer. And
Again,
yes,
it's just what's needed in for comic book type move for a live action stuff. You need a comic book writer.
yes.
Like,
And that's the thing, man. You know, comics don't have to be super fantastical and crazy. Like we know comics can be really grounded and stuff. And you know, like you said earlier, they haven't been made for kids since the 50s. Like
right,
they're more rated R than PG. So the fact that Hollywood thinks that you can't make rated R superhero movies. Deadpool completely shattered that notion. And uh comics, like I said, if you adapted a comic directly, it would have to be rated R with the amount of violence, the amount of
yep,
language, whatever,
yep,
adult situations. So miss me with that. Comic movies got to be for kids. Superhero movies don't have to be for kids. Can you make a kids superhero movie?
yeah,
Absolutely. Can you make an adult superhero movie?
yes.
Obviously. You know what I mean? So they need to just really start making more adult superhero content.
And
I
don't
think that
nobody believe that statement. I got some Green Arrow comics from the 80s, mid 80s to 90s that say for mature audiences only. And I'm like, Green
are
Arrow
they the
fighting,
Max ones?
huh?
Are they Max? Like Max, or is that just Marvel that does that?
It's just Marvel that does it because these were just
Yeah.
like regular DC in the 80s. Like
Yeah, Punisher Max, Blade Max, like
Yeah,
that. Like those are really like
yeah, but
hardcore adult.
this wasn't them. It was like what Mike Grell wrote back in the 1980s. Of like you had
Just
Green
regular.
Arrow fighting. Of course, he always fought like street level villains
Yeah.
and things like that. But I mean, he's fighting drug abusers. He's rescuing prostitutes. He's doing it's a lot of stuff that he's doing. Is like if you read it, and I'm like I read a few of them when I was a kid, but I read a lot of them as an adult. And it's just like and he really wasn't for children now. Like I said, that's like 1987, 88, 89.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah.
You know who this is, Spade?
Slade Wilson. Oh, about Mogo?
Yeah.
Yeah. The living planet. The planet that's a Green Lantern.
Ah,
So, yeah,
okay.
I know about Mogo. Like, yeah, that
Like
would be that.
Ego. I wonder if Ego was based on Mogo. I bet he was. Marvel always, they always steal character ideas and shit. Like Deadpool was based on Deathstroke and shit.
They go back and forth. They always stealing each other's
Yeah.
characters and like, well, let's do this one. So, like, I always found that to be pretty interesting because people are like, well, who came first? I'm like, well, that's a good question.
Right.
Like the Flash, then there's Quicksilver, you got Mogo, you got Ego, Deadpool,
Yep.
Deathstroke.
Right. Yep. That's too many. But Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre co-leads in Lanterns. Kyle Chandler playing Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre playing John Stewart. So it's like a buddy cop movie or show where the older Kyle Chandler, Hal Jordan, is going to be the sort of mentor, and the younger Aaron Pierre, John Stewart, is going to be the sort of rookie. And it'll be an 8-episode miniseries, superhero series with Hal Jordan like being like a legend among the space police force, known in the show as the Green Lanterns. And he reluctantly mentors a younger Green Lantern, John Stewart. The two intergalactic cops get drawn into a dark Earth-based mystery as they investigate a murder in the American heartland. Reads the log line for the show. But yeah, Tom King recently praised the chemistry between the two actors, sharing in November 2024. He said, "You should see these two together. They have amazing chemistry, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm not allowed to say anything except I can't say how, or I can say that it's awesome." He said, "When you look at Kyle, you see someone who used to fly jet planes, and he embodies Hal Jordan. When you see Aaron, his heart, his soul, his strength are so Jon Stewart. He's so perfect. It's gonna be great." End quote. And that's promising. That sounds fucking cool to me. I think that sounds like a really good show. The rest of the Lanterns cast includes the Boardwalk Empire character, actress Kelly MacDonald. She's Scottish. She plays Sheriff Ketty. Sheriff Ketty. No nonsense woman, deeply devoted to her family and close knit town. Fear the Walking Dead's Garrett Dillahunt as William Macon. He's a very interesting actor. Always plays a real creepy motherfucker. But he's great. He's great. A modern cowboy who masks his ruthless ambition behind a charming and calculated facade. A Never Have I Ever actor, Purana Jagathanan, as Zoe. She is described as effortlessly confident and poised in any setting, even those where she stands out. Lanterns is set to begin filming in 2025 January, so just another month or less. They're gonna start filming with production. Yeah, I'm really excited, man. I think this is gonna be cool. The series should premiere on HBO in 2026, so around the same time that Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow will be released in theaters. So we'll be building up to that, and yeah, so we'll just have to, just starve and get until this July we'll get to see Superman. We'll watch Creature Commandos until then, which has been really good so far. If you haven't seen Creature Commandos yet,
watch it yet.
It's not what I expected. I expected, honestly, to not really care much. I thought it was going to be kind of maybe a little boring. I don't know. I just thought it wasn't going to be all that. Like, totally blew me away. I'm totally into it. Like, it's really fucking good. Like, very well written. Just really not what I expected, man. And James Gunn explained why his latest episode about Weasel is the saddest thing he ever wrote. He said, well, when he first introduced Weasel, was the 2021 feature film The Suicide Squad, and he knew that the DC Comics character Weasel, either an animalistic human or a human-like animal, depending on your point of view, kind of like a Rocket type character, but much taller and lankier and creepier and crazier and kookier and doesn't talk. And so in the beginning, they premise him saying that he's in jail, right, because he killed 27 children, and we find out in this latest episode that he did not actually kill 27 children. On the contrary, he was actually trying to save them, but they indicted him and put him in prison for killing all these children. But Gunn said, "I didn't know the specifics of it, but I always knew that it wasn't fair." It wasn't until Gunn brought Weasel back for the DC animated series Creature Commandos that he finally got to sort out the details of how this gentle beast was unjustly branded a child killer. As the Suicide Squad works their way through their mission involving Princess Lana, each episode of the series, all of them written by James Gunn, examine one of their backstories. So in this one, it's called Chasing Squirrels, and it's sort of the backstory of Weasel. And Gunn said, "I really get sad talking about it." His voice gets uncharacteristically quiet in the interview, and he said, "I remember finishing writing it. I was in Colorado with my wife, and I remember I said, I think I just wrote the saddest thing I've ever written in my entire life." Unfolding over the series of flashbacks, Weasel his story begins to emerge from the woods behind an elementary school where he encounters a group of kids and they're playing. It's Thanksgiving break. Weasel is, you know, he's like coming out of the bushes and but just like kind of staying back in the bushes. And what he actually is kind of a mystery, and they leave it a mystery. Where he's coming from is kind of a mystery, but it's definitely obvious to the children that he's a sweet-natured, kind little animal that means them no harm. And they all have a blast playing with him, and they're running around playing together. But this old man passes by, and he misinterprets something Weasel's doing when they're kind of wrestling and playing, and thinks that he's threatening and a danger to the kids. And for no real reason other than that he assumes that the giant furry animal would be innately menacing, he races back to his cabin to call 911 and grab his shotgun. So it's kind of an analogy on like Karen's. But at the same moment, one of the kids discovers that the back door to the school was left unlocked. And so when they all run inside, Weasel follows and keeps playing with the kids as they mess around and wind up the school's basement boiler room. And a series of happenstance mistakes happens in playing with, not drinking, but playing with the teacher's bottle of liquor and striking a box of matches, two of the little kids, and some dirty rags, and it all blows up and goes into and the boiler explodes, and the man and all the kids are killed except for one little girl. And that's when two cops look into the basement and see Weasel surrounded by all the dead bodies, and he's dragging the one live girl, which he's dragging her to safety from the fire, but they think that he's dragging his last victim. And so yeah, and like the old man, they automatically assume the worst, open fire at Weasel, and he desperately tries to bring the child to safety, but the cops incapacitate Weasel, and basically, they don't give a fuck about the little girl. They just let her, die.
Yeah.
They're more interested in
getting their target, so to speak.
Getting their bad guy, right. But Gunn said, it's incredibly sad. The Suicide Squad, he said, Sean Gunn, rather, that plays Weasel. He said it's incredibly sad. He played Weasel in both the Suicide Squad as well and Creature Commandos. Having worked with his older brother, James Gunn, since the mid-90s, Sean says that he's not as surprised that Weasel's story is so bracingly tragic. Sean Gunn said that James himself has a darkness, and there's a darkness to a lot of his work. The specifics of that darkness, however, did catch Sean Gunn off guard. It started with Gunn's instruction to Sean that he play Weasel as if he was a big dog. And Weasel doesn't think in dialogue, Gunn says, but for any of us who have and love dogs, that your dog has a pretty complex emotional life. So you put this character through the ringer and it becomes very relatable, but also new. It's tragic and sad. And also, I've never really seen anything like that on television. End quote. But Sean Gunn recorded the final sequence over like a few recording sessions, just to try and get it just right, performing Weasel's, actions over an unbroken take up to his final anguished scream as the cops drag him away. He said, I was a little sick when we did it the first time, and the scream wasn't even like a fifth of what it needed to be, he said. So when we went back, we really needed to get the scream. And he said, we went through a lot of interactions, that whole sequence, but it was difficult to find exactly the right tone for it. We did want you to feel the emotion and the horror of what was going on, but we didn't want to be exploitive. He said, at the end of the day, Weasel, in a lot of ways, is the most noble character in the show. This is a pretty innocent creature who is treated like something else because he looks different than other people. And he said, you'll see everything with his backstory come into play in later episodes. If you talk about the characters existing on some continuum of good to bad, he's pretty much on the good side. End quote. So that's, like I said, the show it's a cartoon. It's animated, rather, but it's definitely for adults. And it's really well written. It's not just a crazy action or silly, animated goof off. it's a really good, it's a really well written show that I think you'll dig.
I had to check that out. I know
Mhm.
Slade asked in the comments here tell a little bit about Mogo. So Mogo is in the Green Lantern Corps. Literally, he's a living planet. Um, like we talked, like you said earlier about Ego, but the only thing the difference with Mogo is Ego and Mogo is Mogo will not form his energy into a person being. He's just literally a
Right.
planet. But
Well, I don't know if Ego does that in the comic. I know Ego did that in the movie, but in the comics, Ego is just a big planet with a
just a
face
big
on it.
planet.
Yeah.
And see, but Mogo don't have a face. Mogo would be like Earth. Now
Uh,
he
uh,
has a Green Lantern ring embedded somewhere in the surface, like Earth, and he has a Green Lantern logo that surrounds all around him, so you know he's a Green Lantern. He can
right.
talk like Ego does. He can talk. He's aware. He's self-sustaining. Can move from place to place. He's often been a safe haven for Green Lanterns. Like if they needed to escape over, they can just go to Mogo, and he'll take them around whatever the universe that he's in. So,
Right.
and I mean, obviously a planet, so he's one of the most powerful Green Lanterns as well. It's like that is
Right.
crazy. The whole planet is a Green Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. And this is Ego from Marvel. And he's yeah, like different, drawings, different iterations, but that's
Yeah,
basically he's got a
that
face
look is
that
scary.
yeah, he's scary. He's crazy. There's a couple different versions. Oh. Ah. The planet, the living planet Ego is mad. Yeah, a lot of different versions, different artists, that drew him at different times in different ways, but for the most part, he kind of looks pretty similar, no matter who. But yeah, and then of course you got that's Thor down there, and it's just a face in like the side of a rock where they're standing, so it's like his face can like pop out in the side of a mountain. I am Ego, the largest, most powerful intelligence in all of infinity. You are like dust unto my feet. Fool ain't got no feet. Uh,
You a
eh,
planet, you ain't got no feet.
Possessing powers without end, I have fashioned myself a face in the manner of those beyond the black galaxy. Thus we may address each other with comparative ease. Oh wow.
But I guess if he can manifest a face, he can manifest feet if he wants to.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I'm like
yeah.
you, he ain't got no feet.
Mogo is like ego. Let's look at Mogo.
Check out
DC
Mogo.
Mogo. He just looks like a giant lantern symbol.
Yeah, it's literally what it is. Giant lantern. It's like, man,
Yeah, he's cool.
because I'm like, I think it was
Like a big ass 8 ball.
yeah. I want to say it was in the that's what I saw in the Blackest Night storyline.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
believe that's how he looked with the big lantern symbol wrapped around him like that.
Mm-hmm. Here's Guy Gardner, the buzzhead, the buzz cut version, not the bowl
I was
cut
kind
version.
of glad when the 80s and 90s ended, they gave him a buzz cut instead of the bowl haircut.
Not
And I was
me.
like, I was tripped out watching the Superman trailer. I'm like, they gave him the bowl haircut back. Like, that's pretty funny.
Well, that's why they did it, because it's like the classic version, and it's funny, and it shows Guy Gardner's character, that he's so like, because Guy Gardner, he's cocky, man, and it shows like that he's so cocky that he can rock a bowl cut, and he feels that he can get away with that,
Yeah.
and still be hard, and he does it. He pulls it off. Like he comes out looking like Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, uh, blasting his ring off.
Oh man.
But yeah, guy. Guard. Hold on. Where is he at? Where is he at? There we go. Yeah. they just put out a new figure, DC Multiverse figure that it's got the bowl cut
Mm.
and the and a buzz cut that you can switch back and forth. But the bowl cut, if you notice, like this is one thing that bothered me about Nathan Fillion's bowl cut.
Uh-huh.
If you notice, in all the iterations of Gardner's in the comics, rather, his bowl cut it's shaved around the sides.
Right.
Fillion's is not. This isn't really a bowl cut. This is actually just hair with bangs.
Like a
Because the
1950s,
bowl,
I guess,
yeah, it should look like the Beatles or something. That's not a bowl cut. That's just the Beatles. That's just a long Beatles haircut. This is a bowl cut. Like this is the Guy Gardner cut. It's shaved around the sides, like absurdly. It's
Yeah.
supposed to look absurd. He's supposed to look ridiculous. That's what he's supposed to look like.
You know,
You know,
Doc
whether,
Ock had the same haircut.
yeah, exactly. Like a Doc Ock. That's right. He's like a Doc Ock cut. That's what he's supposed to have. That's what I want to see. Because I want to see I just want to see that real comic accurate, makes me feel like I'm watching a comic book. Just because, like I said, man, we've had a bad run lately of some real shitty movies. But here we go. Get off this earth, Hal Jordan. There's only room for one Green Lantern, me. And that's the first Guy Gardner right there.
Mm.
So the bowl cut came later, it seems. Because that's not a bowl cut.
Nope.
So I wonder what artist decided to just go like all out and just be like, here.
Yeah, man, we can get his band phone.
Let me get this man just a mushroom top.
I'm like you. I think that's kind of funny because I'm like, he's so damn cocky, but it's like,
Right.
Who the hell is gonna make fun of his haircut? I mean, people have, but don't get me wrong. It's like, but who the hell gonna make fun of his haircut?
Right. That's how he sees it. He's like, say something if you want to. But I like his costume. It's a cool version of the like Hal Jordan's is very spandex, unitard. And even John Stewart too, but Guy Gardner had that that high collar and the jacket.
Yeah.
It was just different. Metal belt, metal gloves, like metal studs around his glove. He just seems more like he just seems more brutal. He just seems more brutal. So I can't wait to see what they do with him in live action. But other than that, man, there's a couple little tidbits here. Have you seen have you seen any of those Taylor Sheridan shows like Mayor of Kingstown or Landman or Lioness or any of those?
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, okay. Well, they're gonna make some new ones. They're gonna Mayor of Kingstown is coming back for season 4, so that's cool. But yeah, man, we'll see you guys next. What is it? Wednesday. We'll see. So it's Saturday. So we'll see you guys Wednesday, man. We do this every Saturday and every Wednesday night at about 7 p.m. About 6:30, 7 p.m. So come back and check us out Wednesday. Have a good rest of your weekend. And Christmas is Wednesday, so we'll be doing a Christmas show on Christmas Day. Shout out to Norrin Rad breaking us down with the complex Guy Gardner backstory. He said he was abused by his father, which made him become abusive. He then had to come to terms with that and learn to use his abusiveness for good. The difference between Guy and Hal is Guy has more power, willpower, but out of control so much it overloads his ring as Hal controls it. Yeah, so like I said, man, more of a complex backstory, complex character that could be really cool, if it's written well. The comics changed his hair over the years. The movie can too. We all knew who it was. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like when you see the dude, you were like, "Oh, that's Guy Gardner." There's no
Yeah,
question.
exactly,
That's what I'm talking about.
exactly.
Mr. Terrific. That's a cool looking mask. Cooler than I thought, and cooler than the painted on tee that we got in the TV show. Really cool. Like I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. It's like some sort of raised, like some sort of like rubberized. I don't know. Looks cool. Hawk Girl. She looks pretty cool. She's got her mace looking like
now I'm
Wolverine.
kind of excited for Hawk Girl. I ain't gonna trip.
Huh?
I said now I'm kind of excited to see Hawk Girl on screen. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah. She looks really cool. I was really surprised too that Metamorpho looks so comic accurate. I was surprised that they
Yeah,
went with that version. I was really because there's a lot of ways they could have done that character, and with Anthony Kerrigan, the actor that's playing the character, he's sort of he's just bald. He's got no hair on his eyebrows or his eyelashes or anything, and so he's got a really unique sort of look. And I thought, oh, they're probably just gonna maybe just have it just be he's just gonna be how he looks, but
mm,
they they actually are obviously doing the comic version, which I was really surprised, and I'm just really happy, and I'm just proud, man. I'm just proud of James Gunn for having the balls to give us that version, of Metamorpho. See, he's got the
right.
the left shoulder is like pink or purple, and it has some sort of like either crystals or rocks or mesh or something, like you see there, but you
The
can
yellow
see,
man.
yep, and you can see that in the trailer. If you look at his shoulder there on the left, it's
I
like
see.
pinkish, and it's
Yeah.
got little crystals and rocks. Yep. And then the other side looks completely different, and he's got all those swirlies and shit around on his face, which they do have in some of these iterations. Well, this one here, he's got more of just like lines and streaks, and stuff like that. But there are ones where, like this one, where he's got like these actual sort of like spirals and curly cues going around on his face. See,
Hmm.
so yeah, man, James Gunn. Shout out to Gunn for keeping it real.
I gotta gotta admit, like you were right about him keeping stuff comic book accurate because it looks like it's real. Everything's real comic book accurate.
Yeah,
Like just down to the look. We like all the movies and TV shows and stuff we see. Of course, cartoons are gonna do it, but like the live action stuff we've seen over the years, is like, yeah, man, I wish what would this look like if it was more comic book accurate?
right. Yeah, I
'Cause,
mean, speaking of comic book accurate, that's what I mean. Like, I want them to actually adapt particular comics too, like they're doing with Supergirl.
mm,
Tom King, uh, he said he's writing, or sorry, he wrote the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic, and one of the architects of the James Gunn DCU universe too. So Tom King is working heavily with Gunn, with a lot of the projects and stuff, and doing writing and stuff like that. And they're actually adapting that story to the big screen. So when we see the Supergirl movie, it's not going to be just another like a Marvel collage where they just hodgepodge all the different Supergirl shit from all the different DC comics that have ever made and put it into the
yeah.
Supergirl movie. No, they're going to adapt the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic run by Tom King. So a very specific Supergirl story. So you'll actually be able to go to the movie and be like, "Oh yeah, man, I remember this story in the comics. This was awesome." And that's exciting to me. Like I'm actually excited for a Supergirl movie.
Mm.
That's crazy. To me, that's crazy. I would never like. That's just totally out of my wheelhouse. But I can't wait because everything, the Tom King's just a dope writer, and I didn't read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow because it's not a character that I would have ever picked up, to read. But
Mm.
since I found out they were making the movie about it, I've flipped, I've looked at images and read some pages and stuff like that, and it just is really really cool looking. Like the art is really dope. The story is obviously just very well done, and it's a cool looking comic, and I'm excited to see how they interpret it in live action, if it's going to look at all like the comic, or what, how accurate they're going to do it, what they're going to adapt, if they're going to just adapt the story, if they're going to adapt the look, you know all that is very interesting. But here's like a little page out of it, and so you can see it's kind of, I don't know, whimsical-ish. There's Supergirl in that picture, but
Yeah,
it's got a
I never
unique
seen the
art
story,
style.
but I've seen the graphic novel.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel for it. Here's another picture. So a very distinctive art style and a very distinctive story, and it's a cool story too. Like with a really dark, like she's like a well, here, let me see. It says Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has been called the true grit with superheroes, with Supergirl and Ruthie chasing Krem across the galaxy after his pointless murder of Ruthie's father. While the story starts out as a typical superhero story, with Supergirl accompanying Ruthie mainly so she won't get hurt while trying to hire a mercenary to kill Krem, their experiences push the characters' moral boundaries, especially as Krem hurts more people in an attempt to escape justice. Ruthie is a stalwart character solely focused on killing Krem, and the story acts as a dark coming of age narrative, and she's forced to leave her home to explore the vast galaxy full of new ideas and people. The narrative brings in the iconic Superman family characters, including Krypto the Superdog and Supergirl's pet horse, Comet, which can adopt a human form.
Hmm.
While also exploring the destruction of Krypton has shaped Kara Zor-El into a different hero than her cousin Superman, since she was a teenager when she lost her entire world. So Superman in the comics, he gets sent off the planet when he's an infant. He never knows Krypton.
Right.
She's a teenager when Krypton blows up. So she loses
Mhm.
her world and she floats through space having these, terrible adventures or terrible experiences. And so she's a very jaded, very different character than Superman, and even a darker character. It says movie adaptations of comic stories tend to simplify narrative with less room to draw on decades of prior lore. But King's involvement has fans excited that the movie could be unusually faithful to the critically beloved comic run. One of the most acclaimed comic writers today, King's involvement with the DC New Movies universe never changed. Nevertheless, a major step up to a larger, more mainstream audience. And it's no surprise that he's finding the journey surreal, with his niece's namesake ascending to the level of pop culture recognition he could have never foreseen. Fans will be glad to know that King has such personal stakes in the upcoming movie, both in hopes that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow will capture the magic of the original comic and as a vital step forward in the DCU's first official chapter. And so adapting a comic is just guaranteed, that you're going to have good writing, and the rest is up to the movie makers, the acting and the directing and the filmmaking. But as long as and we know that's in good hands, so very cool. And then the actress
One,
playing
I was
sorry man, I
just
didn't mean to
going
interrupt.
to do, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the actress playing Supergirl is Millie Alcock, who played in the Game of Thrones spin-off House of the Dragon, and she was very good. So good, in fact, that when the time jump happened and they recast the character, fans were mad mid-season that they recast her. So she was really, really good. So I really see her playing a great Supergirl. She looks just like the character in the comics, so I think she can really pull that off. She's got that same kind of look. So it's gonna be good. What were you gonna say?
But I was like, if anybody you ever never seen Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, it's a good story like about Supergirl when she first lands to Earth and how Kal-El is trying to get her to kind of integrate into Earth, into
Right.
society, and she struggles with it, like seriously
Yeah.
struggles. So um, Batman's suggestion is like he doesn't trust her, she doesn't trust Batman either. But Wonder Woman comes and gets her and takes her to Themyscira to kind of train her, not necessarily as an Amazon, but just as a warrior, like learn how to control your powers, control your strength, and this, and blah blah blah. So it's a
Right.
really cool story. And then like Kara does kind of tell Clark like, look, I need to be here. Like you can't teach me what I need to know, far as for basically like being a woman.
Yeah.
Like I know you can teach me how to use my powers and everything, but they're teaching me how to control my powers, how to use them in a certain line, how to protect myself. I can't always rely on my cousin to do it.
Right. Exactly. Martial Warpath, salute. Rex, what up? Peace. Divine, EGC, salute. Yeah, the Fantastic Four movie characters, they look pretty cool, I must say. Here is a little sneak peek. The Thing looks very much like the Thing looks in the comics, so that's pretty cool. I mean, the original Thing, like that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. Even Johnny Storm has the sort of the look of, and again, this is obviously pretty blurry, but you can kind of see what they're gonna do, and he kind of reminds me of that very first comic cover with the Human Torch on it, like the old comic, like way before there was actually a Fantastic Four. And so that's
Yeah.
a really cool, yeah. And then of course their costumes. You can see Pedro Pascal and the Invisible Woman's costume. So their costumes look really comic accurate. They've got the big white bright gloves and the bright kind of bluish color. We saw Pedro Pascal's pants in a couple of on-set photos earlier, but yeah, I'm not mad at that, and it looks very promising. It says I can't read that. Okay, it's in Spanish. But yeah, looks pretty cool. But yeah, guys, we that's our show for tonight. We're gonna wrap it up, and we'll see you guys, man. Thanks for coming to EGC and Marshall, man. We just wrapping it up. We've been on for almost 3 hours, but we had a great show, man. Definitely rewind it. You'll love it. We had a great one. We had Spade in here. We had Raw Talk. We had Stu Dog. We had a great crew. We had a dope show. So check it out if you are new to the channel. Thank you for coming and kicking it with us. Hit that like button, subscribe so you can get all our new shows. And we do a new show every Wednesday and every Saturday around 6:37 p.m. So we'll be back Wednesday. Yes, it's Christmas Day. I don't give a damn. I will be live. And yeah, man. So be safe. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you then, man.
Peace.
Peace.